Hello, everybody, and welcome to Unscripted Access, episode number 82. You are here with your hosts, Nick McCandless and Bronson Fiore,
I bought an Xbox One with my tax return.
and Anthony Ta.
Hello.
So, Bronson, you finally jumped on board. You bought the Xbox One. What's been your experience with it?
So one thing I can say about this platform is sometimes it literally does feel like the goddamn future. And then other times everything is broken and I'm just kind of like, what the fuck is going on? Because like when I was in the middle of a Killer Instinct game last night, and like I forgot that I linked my Xbox to Skype, and I get a Skype call, and I'm talking to my friend on Skype while playing Killer Instinct. I was just like, oh holy shit, this is fantastic. Uh, I was super into it. Uh, but then other times I'm like, Xbox Snap does nothing. Xbox Snap, and then it finally does it. Ironically, it just did it while I was playing the game. Stop listening. Anyway, but it so I like this console a lot. I don't think it is going to overtake my PS4 as my primary console. That said, I think it has a lot of good stuff going for it. I think it has a stronger library than the PS4 does right now. There are a lot of just really good games that you can only get on it. I've been putting a lot of time into Killer Instinct, even though I only have the trial right now. Titanfall is fantastic. Peggle is virtual crack. Just the multimedia stuff is neat. I gotta say that being able to run, it's kind of weird running a Twitch stream, like watching a Twitch stream of Dota while playing a game was kind of like weird for me at first. I don't know. I really enjoy the system. One thing that I kind of didn't realize how big it was until I pulled it out of the box in my own house.
Oh, yeah, it's big.
It is huge. Like, when you see it at the store, you're like, oh, that's not that much bigger than the PS4. But then you get it home, you're like, holy shit, this thing can, like, eat the PS4.
Oh, yeah.
You can fit the PS4 inside this thing.
And that's what's so impressive about the PlayStation 4, the structure of it, because the PlayStation 4 also has its own power supply built in. The Xbox One, despite it being so big, still has an external power supply.
Yeah, I really think with the Xbox One, after the whole fiasco of the Red Ring of Death, they really, really wanted to make sure nothing like that could happen. So they're like, we are going to make this box super, super utilitarian. We are going to make this thing a box. We are going to make sure it has a shit ton of fans and space to breathe. And we are going to... And that's kind of how that worked out for them. That said, I still really like it, like I said. I don't know, do you guys have any general questions for it? Because I know, Nick, you might have certain opinions on it that, I share. Or...
Well, yeah, I own the console, and I mean, I agree. I'm enjoying the console. Still not my primary. I mean, all I've been playing lately is Forza 5. I'm about to pick up Titanfall because I was busy with Infamous Second Son, which we'll talk about later. But be sure to check out my review. We were one of the very first websites to post it, thanks to Sony getting me a copy. Not too early. It's only a couple days early, so I was playing...
Walmart beat them to the punch.
Yeah, which is kind
for
of
some
sad.
people.
Yeah, so I was playing through like the wee hours of the night, and we're recording on a Thursday night rather than a Wednesday night because I'm like, gosh, I still got to get through the game and write my review, and I wanted to make sure it went up at embargo, which was today, Thursday at 7 a.m.
I think that's something that people don't realize about writing reviews professionally is like we have, I guess you would call them, we have due dates, and sometimes like you have to play when you don't want to play or you'd rather be playing something else.
Right.
Like Anthony is playing a game for review right now that he's not super into, I know.
Well, yeah, like, that's the other thing, too, is that sometimes if you get sent a game that you can't really finish, or severely lack the will to finish because it's maybe bad, or maybe it's mediocre, or maybe it's just way too long. Like, you think I could finish Dark Souls 2 in time to review it? No, I can't do that. So sometimes you have to take the, do I feel that I have a good enough impression of this game to confidently say this is what the game is?
So my thing is I think it just depends on when the publisher, like, if we get sent a copy, it comes down to when the publisher sent it sometimes, because, like, I remember Namco sent me Ni no Kuni a week after it came out, and I played the game, I didn't finish it. I got like 25 hours into it. I was like, okay, I played 25 hours of this. I'm pretty sure I can accurately judge the quality of this game. And sometimes in the review madness, you do end up, kind of having to be a bit harsher to games than you otherwise would be, or, we're human. That it can affect our mood. Like, and then sometimes a game is so good, it doesn't matter. Like, I had the flu playing Journey for review and writing my review of Journey, and I gave it a 9.5, and that was one of those experiences that it was so good that it actually was like, well, I'm sick and I feel like shit, but man, holy hell, this is making me completely forget about that. So, I don't know. That's so.
Reviews are complicated.
Yeah, no kidding.
I mean, it really depends. Like, the game I'm playing right now, yeah, that's gonna be kind of hard to explain.
Yeah, I can imagine how that one would be. Like,
yeah, like, I can't really say much at this point.
Well, yeah, see,
I don't like. For some reason, I feel like I'm still under embargo, even though I don't know what the email they sent you specifically said.
I told you what it specifically said.
I know, but I'm still not sure if I just want to just blurt out what I think at this point.
Well, yeah, like, so the rule was no spoilers. And,
there's nothing to spoil. I'm not gonna spoil it.
So I don't know. That's one thing that like. I love some companies' press letters though. They're just hilarious. Like I remember, like, I'm always gonna remember Aliens Colonial Marines. That was a good one. Like,
to be honest, those things almost read like advertisements.
They pretty much do. Though I enjoyed the Halo 4 one, where it's like it's like, for those of you who don't know what Halo is, it's like, well, if I didn't know what Halo was, why would we be sending that? Why would we be asking that person to review Halo?
Because some person from MSN or Yahoo, who mildly plays games and is part of their tech staff, probably doesn't know what Halo is. Because you think about it, because that's about the only reason I can really think of. Because Halo is such a big deal that everyone knows about it, but at the same time, some people just know it by name.
Yeah, there are some
They're not gaming enthusiasts. Like,
well, yeah,
does the tech section of Yahoo review Ni no Kuni? Flat out no, but they occasionally review the biggest of the big games because it's everywhere.
Well, yeah, they'll review the next Call of Duty.
I imagine them getting Halo. It's like, what is this Halo? I wonder if this is popular.
Or they don't know much about Halo other than Halo 3 was on their Mountain Dew drink.
Halo is this
3,
the game that was on my Mountain Dew bottle this morning?
Yeah. So that was, I don't know. Back to the Xbox One. So I was surprised at how ridiculously huge it was when I got in the home. I'm also like, what the fuck, Microsoft AA batteries still, really?
Yeah, okay. That's why I bought the
You could buy a play charge kit for $20.
That's cute. Thanks, guys.
That just kind of goes back to the thing that people always argued about back in 07, 08 about which is actually the true better value because all the Xbox people were saying, oh, the PS4 is $500, it's way too expensive and overpriced, and all the PlayStation 3 people were saying, yeah, but to equip an Xbox 360 to the same feature list as the PS3, the Xbox would cost more. Like, you have to buy an HD DVD drive and a wireless adapter and a play-in charge kit.
But
just stuff like that.
My argument as a very broke 360 gamer at the time was, yeah, but I have a really long Ethernet cable. I don't give a shit about Blu-ray, and oh yeah, great. Why? Like, what else was there in that? Oh, the media functionality, card readers,
rechargeable batteries. Yeah, but that was the big argument back in the day.
Yeah, no, I remember that. I was all over System Wars back in the day.
Yeah, but that was the argument back then. And you know what? The Xbox 360 play-in charge kit, when it worked, had alarmingly good battery life. The problem is that the thing suddenly dies. Like, for some reason, yeah, like mine would work for a while, but then I stopped using it for about a month because my Xbox went on the bookshelf because I don't use it anymore. And then when I plug it back in, it refuses to charge in any way whatsoever. So now it's just a placeholder while I just use my 360 as a wired controller, so I don't have to use batteries.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like this generation, you at least thought this generation, it's like, okay, like most electronics, like not even just gaming, just in general, most electronics don't run off AA batteries anymore. They're rechargeable. Like, I think the only thing I own in my apartment that runs off batteries is my Swiffer mop. So, like, my Xbox One controller is on, like, the same level as my Swiffer mop in battery technology.
I think this is a perfect example of what the Xbox One is. Because, like I said, at times the Xbox One feels like it's from the fucking future. Like I say, Xbox go to blank, and it instantly goes there. Or, like, I'm talking to a friend on Skype while he's on his computer while I'm playing a game. Like, it feels like it's the fucking future. But then, on the other hand, one of the original problems I had with the Wii U is everything was its own executable, as is the same thing with the Xbox One. So, Achievements is its own executable. Friends is its own executable.
Yeah, which I don't like.
Which is dumb as hell.
Guys, it's like, we've got 8 gigabytes of RAM, and what we're gonna do is split everything.
Yep. Brilliant.
Actually, to be honest, Xbox One is just kind of like, I know you guys have to make it to the November launch, but really, when you've got a system update that's got new features, like party chat,
battery.
Enhanced party chat, but yeah.
And hard drive capacity meters. I'm just sitting back and I'm just like, I understand that you guys had to rush this out the door. I understand that this isn't flat out the 360 operating system. But what the hell, guys? What were you doing in the last 5 years? Dicking around on Windows phones until it was time for you to actually write an operating system 6 months before release?
I have no idea how to get to the settings on this fucking console. Like, I have no idea. Like, the only way I know how to do it is Xbox, go to settings. Like, that's the only way I know how to go to settings on this goddamn console. There's no other way.
You gotta go to
this kind of reminds me,
games
like,
and apps, and you'll find it there.
This reminds me a lot of games and apps.
Yeah,
you're good. Freaking like this kind of clusterfuck of navigation sounds a lot like what's happening in the cards these days, where they all come with these infotainment systems, and they're like so complicated and impossible to navigate that the only reasonable way you can get any task done in 5 seconds is to use your voice, assuming it can work with your voice.
Yeah, which I don't like. Like, that's why I like the PlayStation 4. Like, PlayStation 4, you can use your voice, but it's also built so you don't have to use your voice. Whereas the Xbox One, it's like, it's to that point where it's like, you pretty much have to use your voice because everything is just spread out all everywhere. Like, I much prefer the Xbox 360 layout. This is worse than the original Xbox 360 layout. Like, it's so poorly done. It's just set up in a way where you have to use voice, and I don't like doing that. Like, I'm very, when it comes to like the classic way, pick up my controller, let me operate to it, let me go. Like, I shouldn't have to put out voice commands. you know.
The
But
original 360 interface wasn't that bad. The Metro interface is quite a mess, though. At first I was okay with it, and then I realized to access demos I have to dive through 3 or 4 different menus to access demos.
yeah.
Like, freaking, the XMB may not be the most awesome thing, but to me, the XMB seems amazing compared to other operating system layouts.
And another thing I don't like there's demos that I've downloaded on the Xbox One or games I've uninstalled from my Xbox One, and when they're uninstalled, they still show up on your home screen, but they're like grayed out, so it asks you if you want to like reinstall, and it's like, no, I uninstalled for a reason. Like, I want it completely off my console. Don't put it on my home screen. Like, I removed it. Get rid of it.
This sounds a bit like, from what's been sounding like to me, it feels like the Xbox operating system is Windows 8, just changed a lot
Well, yeah,
to
that's
work with an
pretty much what it
Xbox,
is.
and you can only operate with the controller instead of with a keyboard, where you can just hit the. It's probably even worse than Windows 8, because at least with Windows 8, if you hit the start menu button on your keyboard, at least opens the start screen.
So that's what the Kinect is, I feel. Because the Kinect is just your way around all this bullshit.
But the problem is that I want more. Here's the thing. It's like, I don't want the Kinect to be an excuse to create a bad menu. That's like saying, oh, you could use your voice to select the radio in your car. No, I want a button on my car that says preset 1. I want this radio station. I don't want to use my voice and get it wrong, and then it gives me a completely different radio station.
I agree. Like, at least give the
agree.
gamers a choice. Like, have 2 different layouts. Like, have one that works better with the controller. Have the one that works with Kinect. Like, give us an option, because
I completely agree. It's just right now, though, like, that is the reality of it. Of, like, if you don't want to put up with this bullshit, this slow, unintuitive crap, Kinect is your solution. You know. Which is really funny, because it was completely the other way around last time around. Like, the 360,
yeah.
the 360 was the fast one that had downloads while playing and party chat and all this other crap. And the PS3 was the one with the ridiculous installs, shitty download speeds, and an interface that, I liked it, but a lot of other people didn't.
It was almost a little bit too basic when it first came out, but...
Oh, you mean that webpage store? That was
yeah.
That was a little too basic.
Again, the PS3. Oh my goodness, do I want to talk about the PS3? Even today, now there's some things that they flat out cannot fix, no matter how hard they try, because it is pretty much an integral part of the system now. Like, for example, I changed the hard drive on my PS3 back in the beginning of 2013, and I put a 500 gigabyte hard drive. Thing is that I didn't have a big enough portable drive that was formatted correctly, that can back up every single conceivable thing. So I deleted all my game installs and backed up only my saves. And when I put the new hard drive in, I had to install Gran Turismo 5. And the problem with Gran Turismo is that they didn't put everything into one gigantic patch. They didn't make it cumulative, so you had to download every patch and install them separately. And this took like 3 or 5 hours.
So yeah, that's another thing about the PS3.
Because they had to download the entire 2 gigabyte patch and then install the 2 gigabyte patch.
That's something about the PS3 that I just never understood. It's like, why don't you just fucking stack the patches instead of having them be all separate downloads with separate installs? Oh my fucking god.
Now here's the thing. They can argue that's like, oh, it's just like your computer. You download and install. But on my computer, I can do other things like type something or read on something on the internet,
pornography,
or watch videos while stuff is downloading or installing. Like today, like back in 2006, computers weren't exactly that fast, but they were fast enough that you can kind of do basic things while it's busy doing, or while your computer's doing other things. With the PS3, you can't do anything when it's installing, at all.
Yeah,
and if it's downloading a colossal update, you can't do anything either.
It's obnoxious, to say the least.
And they couldn't change it. They couldn't change it. Like, I feel like that may have been a side effect from when they got too carried away, working on hardware and trying to prove that Cell's the most amazing supercomputer processor has ever entered a consumer product. But at the same time, they didn't exactly have a good enough operating system team to figure out sell to the point where they didn't have stupid ideas like this.
Yeah.
Well, another part of it was the fact that it has it has 256 megs of RAM and 256 megs of video RAM, versus the 360, which can just split it any which way. It also has I think it's 10 megabytes reserved for video.
It's like their super fast DRAM cache or something like that.
Yeah, which okay, that's which that's why that the PS4 or not the PS4, the PS3 never got party chat. And how fucked is it that the people who invented party chat on their second system have a worse party chat system than the people who didn't have it on the last system and fucked it up on the Vita? Like, how...
and it was better on the 360 than the Xbox One at launch. It's like
I said, I feel well, the thing is that the 360's OS, I feel, is very specific only to the 360, whereas the Xbox One, I don't know much about it, but it probably is Windows 8, just stripped of most of its features, so that way it can function as an actual game system. Because you think about it, it's probably easiest that way, so they don't have to write a brand new operating system from scratch.
Yeah, which I hate Windows 8, by the way.
Is that,
but, you could strip out everything.
That's why when I bought my new computer, I specifically, it's like, yo, which operating system do you want? And I'm like, I want Windows 7, please.
I mean, Windows 8 is probably better than Windows 7, but, yeah, I don't know.
But I don't want to put up with the interface shit. Like, that's the problem.
That's the thing. The interface isn't actually that bad from what some people tell me. It's just, there's kind of two camps. You got people who think that getting rid of the start menu has completely destroyed customer loyalty or something. And then you got people that said that the start screen isn't actually that bad. And think that the people who are complaining about the missing start menu are just complaining because they refuse to accept change. Stuff like that. It's like one of those big arguments that just erupt on fire every time you talk about it in a forum.
Anthony, every time that you and I have a conversation about people being stupid on the internet, I'm just reminded of that video. Everybody sucks but me.
I've been playing Final Fantasy XIV a lot the last few days. I totally get that attitude. Okay? You people make me look bad. Really? You're concerned that we make you look bad. That kind of tells me they care a bit too much about their self-image.
Yeah. But let's move along here. Let's move along to the new stuff. Today, when you guys will be listening to this podcast, or when it releases on Friday, inFAMOUS Second Son will be available to the public. Now, I've had the game for a couple days now. My review's on thegameraccess.com.
I know you did. Like, when you sent me that picture, I was just like, oh, god damn it.
Yeah, so my review is on thegameraccess.com. Please be sure to check it out. It's under featured content, or it's going to be the latest post on the reviews. Please go check it out. I gave the game a 9. The game, it's not, obviously, I've never given a game 10, because if you guys have been following me, I have to be able to not find a single issue with the game to give it a 10, because 10's perfect. Not everyone grades on that scale, but I do. There's a couple issues.
I think that it says, I don't think, Anthony, you've ever given a 10. And I've given...
I came very close. I have given it 10.
Oh, okay.
I have given it 10. It just wasn't for a game. It was for that Legend of Zelda Twilight Symphony soundtrack that Zelda Reorchestrated released last year.
That's right.
That was the only 10 I've ever given. And the reason why I gave it was because it's just that they put in so much effort, so much work, and the music came out so perfectly that there was literally not a single thing that I could fault. And if there was anything I could fault, that's just because of really, really nitpicking due to personal tastes.
But
yeah, to be honest, there's no game out there that does that either.
I've been reviewing games for a very long time. I gave Persona 4 a 10. I gave Uncharted 2 a 10. What else? And I think that might have been it. Oh, Metal Gear 4. Though in hindsight, I probably wouldn't have given that a 10 now. Still a great game, though.
But yeah, so I gave the game a 9. Be sure to check out my full review on thegameranx.com. But a couple things I will discuss. It's not perfect. There are a couple frame rate drops here and there, but thankfully it's not that bad. It only happens when a lot of stuff's going on at once, and it's very, very light. Like, it's nothing crazy like what you have seen in like Assassin's Creed on the consoles or anything like that. It's very, very light. The particle effects are the best particle effects I've seen in any video game I've ever played in my whole entire existence. It is seriously astonishing. Like, I cannot, yes, I know you guys have been listening to this, you guys are reading the review, you guys have probably seen gameplay of Infamous Second Son, but due to compression on the internet and all of that, it just does not give the game justice. The game looks absolutely unbelievable, especially for the scale of the game. You're in Seattle, it's huge.
Yeah, Seattle!
Yeah, you're in Seattle.
A ruined, destroyed Seattle, Bronson.
Shut up!
But it's simply amazing. Like, the game just visually, it's a masterpiece.
No, I've been watching the HD video that IGN put out of it, and I was like, wow, that looks really good.
Yeah,
which is quite amazing considering that Infamous series in the past has not made good looking games. Like Infamous 1, I looked at it and I'm just like, oh no, this looks absolutely terrible. And at the time, it looked pretty terrible.
I think
it's barely okay in my opinion. Everything just looked a little unprofessional. I wouldn't call it unprofessional, but it kind of looked like PlayStation 2.5.
Oh wow, I want to go that far.
I wouldn't go that far. I'd say I really like the look of the effects in the first two Infamouses. I think Infamous 1 did have kind of a
it had a
like Infamous 1 was where I had problems. Like Infamous 1 was where
2, I think it looked pretty good.
Infamous 2 looked a lot good. Infamous 2 looked a lot better. So, Infamous 2 actually looked alright. Infamous 1 was, it looked like one of those games that's like, oh, like, if I hadn't known that the studio had worked on other things in the past, I would have thought it were like a new studio with maybe a little bit of experience, which is why the game kind of looked a bit like meh, but had cool lightning anyway. So yeah,
no,
it was okay.
Guys,
once you get into the gameplay and into the story, you just start kind of ignoring how it looks.
But no, wait till you guys play Infamous Second Son. Like, I know, Bronson, you'll be getting your copy either tonight or tomorrow, and we'll be doing it. Hopefully, be doing it for 60-minute access. But Anthony, when you go over to Bronson's to see him play it, you're gonna be like, Bronson, let me get that controller. Like, it's so. I mentioned this in my review. Story-wise, I don't think it's the best. I still think Infamous 2 has the best story in the franchise. But I do think it has better story than the original. However, the gameplay in Infamous Second Son blows away any other Infamous title. Never in the Infamous franchise, now, yes, this is only the third one, but I've never had so much fun in an Infamous game as I have with Second Son. The powers are simply incredible. The only two I revealed and have been revealed to the public are Smoke and Neon. There's two others that I think I like. The third one, which I'm not going to reveal, is personally my favorite. It's not the most powerful because the powers, they become more powerful as time goes on. So, for example, Neon's more powerful than Smoke, the third one's more powerful than Neon, and the last one's more powerful than the third one. But the powers are incredibly fun. Definitely the best powers of any of the Infamous games. The game's it's so well done. I cannot wait for everyone to get their hands on it.
I'm a huge Infamous fan. Like, I platinumed both the first one and the second one. So that means hunting down every little blast shard. When you only have one blast shard left in an entire town.
Yep. Not a town. A city.
A city. A very large city.
That's New York.
That is New York. I remember playing it just up at some ungodly, like, I think I woke up at 7 in the morning or 6 in the morning. It was really early and couldn't sleep. So I was like, okay, well, you know what? I'm gonna try. I am going to find that last blast shard, and I spent all goddamn night or all goddamn morning looking and looking and looking. At 10 a.m., I finally found it on a corner off of a building next to the subway. And I was just like, oh my god, I'm so happy that I never have to play Infamous 1 ever again. Uh,
Well, that's the good thing about Infamous Second Son. How it's done is pretty much the DUP is pretty much who you're fighting against. And once you clear out their areas on the map, it shows you where all the blast shards are. Now, the blast shards can be found different ways. There's these little drones that carry them, and you have to shoot them down. There's fingerprint scanners that you can destroy to get them, and then there's some that are just laying loose. So I thought that was pretty cool. Another thing I want to say is, wow, Sucker Punch really, I feel, like I said in my review, I think it's the best current generation, meaning PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. I think it's the best game. Now, I have not played Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes yet, but from what I'm hearing, it's incredibly short, and that's not the full game, so I don't really think we can count that. But from what I have played, and I've beaten all of the major games, like I said, outside of Metal Gear Solid 5. I've played Titanfall a little bit, played a lot of Forza, beat Killzone, beat Rise. I've played Dead Rising, wasn't really impressed with that. I feel that Infamous Second Son is the best game on either one of the consoles.
So,
but Sucker Punch with the DualShock 4, they have done the best job of taking advantage of what the DualShock 4 offers. It's funny because, as anyone in the media knows, when they send you a game for review, they usually send you a packet and it has like the embargo information and then like stuff you're not supposed to talk about. And they requested I not talk about this one thing, but I'll give a little hint, and I'm not going to really hint more than I did in the review. But there's these side missions in the game, and once you get the game, you'll know what I'm talking about, where the whole side mission, and it's short, it doesn't require a lot of time, but the whole side mission is based off the DualShock 4 features, which is absolutely incredible. It's amazing. And then things like absorbing resources or collecting blast shards, you can hear the noise coming through the controller speaker. Or, it's absolutely amazing. And then there's like points in the game where Delson Rowe, which is the main protagonist this time around, it's not Cole anymore. You'll have to scan your finger. Swipe your finger.
Spoiler alert. Hold on, spoiler alert. That's because everyone, if you haven't played the second game yet, Cole's dead.
Yeah, so you end up actually swiping your finger on the touchpad, which I thought's really cool.
I think
there are these points where you have to like destroy these DUP command centers, and like you have to pull out this block and like blow up their command center. And what you do is you use your thumb, you slide up the touchpad to hold it, and then you repeatedly press R2 to destroy it. I just think, and like I said, there's so many other things I don't want to waste because I want you guys to experience it yourself and be surprised like I was. But the DualShock 4, you might be like, oh, the light bar is it's gimmicky, or the touchpad's gimmicky. Play Infamous Second Son, and you'll really understand how it enriches the gameplay experience, because it certainly did for Infamous Second Son.
I definitely think that does sound like the best use of it beyond Killzone, because I thought the way it was used in Killzone was pretty good with the owl. Like I thought that was
that was pretty really cool.
That was cool. Let's see, what else was it? Yeah, I don't know. I thought.
When your health was going down, like your health was determined by the color of the light bar, that was pretty cool.
Oh, another game that did it pretty well was Tomb Raider. Whenever you fired a gun, the light bar would flash white. So, which really freaked me out at first, because I thought like something was wrong with my TV or something. Because I was playing in the dark. That was the first time I was playing the game in the dark, and I fire up and I get the first gun in the game. Which, that's about an hour or two in, maybe, and I see a white flash. I'm like, oh god, what's going on? What the hell just happened? And then like my TV freaking out. I'm like, oh, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. But yeah, definitely really, really neat stuff with that controller. You talked about Metal Gear Ground Zeroes. I got that game essentially for free. So what happened is I traded in my old iPhone, and they said if you trade this toward the pre-order of a game, you get an additional. It was something like 40 or 50% trading credit, which that basically paid for a copy of Metal Gear Ground Zeroes. So because I
What, you traded your iPhone for only like $30?
No, I traded my iPhone in for $200.
Oh, okay. I was about to say.
And they, because what happened is my old or my iPhone. What happened with it is I dropped it and I thought it was broken, so I upgraded to the AT&T Next program and got a 5S. And then I was like, okay, well, I have this phone that doesn't work. Maybe I'll sell it. Someone can part it out. And I got it to the point where everything worked except the sound would occasionally go out on it. So I was like, well, maybe I can sell this at GameStop for some credit or something. I don't know, $50 maybe. And they don't check to see if sound works. So I got full trade value on that thing. So
now, to anybody who drops their phone and has broken sound, you can still sell it.
Go to GameStop.
Yeah, you'll get like $180.
That reminds me of this, like, I remember watching a few horror story GameStop stories, and from former employees, and they would say that they've seen game consoles like a PS2 that's completely covered in brown dust, looked like spiders were living in it, but because it could accept a CD and play a game for 10 seconds, they had to accept it.
So I worked there. I took in a couple of 360s. It's not as bad as it was back then, but we were not very thorough with our inspections. It was like, okay, can this boot? Can it play a game? Is it not completely filthy or disgusting? All right, it meets all those criteria. Great, we'll take it.
Yeah, I bought like a used Kinect from them. Yeah,
I mean,
the cleanliness standards
that was
are
actually
kind of low.
That was in actually surprisingly good shape. So I traded in my old iPhone and I paid off a very large chunk of my Xbox One, and I also paid off Infamous and Metal Gear. And Metal Gear essentially got it for free because I would not have gotten extra trading credit if I didn't pre-order something, and Metal Gear is the only thing that I want to pre-order. So I ended up I picked up Metal Gear, and it is so good. It is really, really good. Well made. AI is incredibly intelligent. It's a ton of fun. But I beat the main story in 68 minutes. So, yeah.
Boom, 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 boom.
A $20 or $30 prologue that costs. So, yeah.
I mean, with the side missions, that it realistically is probably like a 6 to 8 hour. But, even then, like, just, I don't know. Take that how you will. I personally was not super butthurt by it, but part of that's because I got it for free. Part of that's, there's a lot of reasons why I personally wasn't like, what grob anger, like a lot of people are. One, just because the game is actually really good. Like it's not like Journey where it overrode my total sense of value, where it was like, Journey's so good, I'll pay $1,000 for it. But it was really good, and the side missions kind of extend that value out a little bit. I would say the $20 price tag on is fair. It's gorgeous. It's unbelievably good looking, especially the lighting effects. Oh my god, the lighting is so good. Um, the weather effects are really good also. One thing that I did not realize in my first playthrough of it is, yo, idiot, you can shoot out the lights, making this significantly easier on yourself. Did not realize that.
Yeah, we never really think about that part in stealth games because the whole point is for them to not notice you. So you're it's very easy to focus on the people.
Yeah.
And that's actually one of the things about stealth that people never think about, because people think it's about being quiet and blending into the shadows, because I think that if I clicked off the light, someone would notice that someone shut off the light, and it's very suspicious, which defeats the point of what you're trying to do. But yeah, still, like, the game to implement taking out lights, that's kind of cool still.
Yeah, that was neat. The AI is pretty smart until it gets into like gun combat. Then it becomes dumb as hell again.
Yeah, Metal Gear 5,
the story stuff it does. Like by the stuff it does with story, by the time I was done, the way they ended, I was just like, where's the Phantom Pain? Why is it not something I can purchase now? Want.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna buy Ground. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I'm gonna play Ground Zeroes. That's for sure. But Phantom Pain. Oh, I cannot wait.
Yeah. I don't know. Ground Zero was pretty good. We're definitely gonna do 60-minute access of it because we now have a way to do PS4 games before the update. There's gonna be a little bit of input lag, but not enough to where we're gonna be too concerned about it.
But yeah, the update Bronson's talking about is, thankfully Sony in the next updates are removing HDCP protection, which for most of you guys you probably don't care, but for us it's awesome because now we can do 60-minute access of PlayStation 4 titles and capture video. It's gonna be great.
I just love how they announced that the day I bought my Xbox One. Just the day of, I was like, oh man.
See, this is the thing. Like, honestly, Sony would have been smart to just release it like in time for Infamous, because Infamous is like the perfect game for something like that. But I mean, better late than never, I guess.
So going back to Infamous real quick, I did watch one mission in a live stream. I'm not gonna spoil it, but it's where your brother dresses up as bait. That's all I'm gonna say. Do you remember this?
What, dresses up as bait? What do you mean?
As bait, like he's bait to draw out.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
That was hilarious.
I know exactly what you're talking about. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, that was really good. And then that's the only part that I've actually like, other than the like the big reveal trailers for it, Neon, and then the E3 trailer. And then that one little bit of the live stream I watched before I turned it off. I literally am going into that game relatively blind.
Good, because like I said, when you have like completely surprised by like the next two powers, like the third one, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but I was like, what the hell? Like, how is this gonna work? But then I started using it. I'm like, this is freaking awesome.
It is okay. So you're in the city of Seattle. So is it the power of coffee?
Yes, the power of coffee. You get to like go in and absorb resources from Starbucks on every corner.
Well, that would be a very plentiful resource in Seattle.
And then it burns the enemies because it's like burning hot, scalding hot.
Or it is the fourth power, the power of grunge music.
Yes, that's what it is.
Okay.
We'll leave it to that right now.
Sticking with the Seattle theme.
Yeah, but the game's just unbelievable. Like, if you have a PlayStation 4, like, you are crazy not to go out and buy this game or at least rent it. Like, even if, because I mean, I've met a couple people who just couldn't get into the Infamous franchise. Please try this one out, because this one brings, it's a lot more epic than the previous Infamous titles, and like I said, gameplay-wise, it's definitely the best Infamous of the franchise by a long shot. Like, didn't have near as much fun with the other two Infamous titles as I have with Infamous Second Son. It's unbelievable.
So, I'm kind of curious to see how I'm going to enjoy it, because I loved the first two Infamous games. I platinumed
Well, then you're
them
gonna
both.
fall in love with Infamous Second Son.
Like, I platinumed them both. I played them religiously. I only know one person who likes those games more than I do, and I think she's a little too obsessed with them. You know, like that, they are, in my opinion, some of the most underrated games on the PS3. So I'm looking forward to it. It's the reason I bought a PS4 first. Like, I knew I was going to end up buying both consoles, and the PS4 was cheaper and had Infamous, and I didn't know Kingdom Hearts was a multi-plat till like a couple weeks after I pre-ordered. So I was like, oh well, Kingdom Hearts and and Infamous, and both systems are getting Metal Gear. So absolutely, I am going to get a PS4. And Infamous was going to be my launch title until it got delayed. So I mean, take that how you will.
Yeah, you'll definitely, like I said, man. Oh, I cannot wait for everyone to get their hands on it. It's just because it's like, I started playing it. I'm like, okay, this is Infamous. This is great. This next generation looks great. But as I start unlocking powers, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just freaking awesome. Like, oh, I cannot wait. Like, I'm looking forward to my second playthrough, because my first playthrough, I played on the good side, so I'm gonna play on the evil side next. And like I said, there's just like the other Infamous titles. There's this one decision I just want to. It's like I can't wait to play on the other side and do the reversal, because, well, yeah, I'll just leave it there. But yeah, definitely go pick up the game if you have a PlayStation 4. Please,
all right. It looks like Resogun finally is no longer the best game on the system.
Yeah, Infamous Second Son. Like, Bronson, we should actually do it. I know I texted you about this. We should do a Infamous dedicated podcast.
Can we do a video podcast? Because I'll wear the beanie I get with the collector's edition.
Maybe. So look out for that, guys.
Go.
Bronson and I are going to do a podcast where we pretty much talk all about Infamous, break it down. Do not listen or watch it until you beat the game, though, because we are going to spoil the hell out of it.
I have been wanting to. So, for those of you who don't know what this idea is I've had this idea for literally years. And it's spoiler cast, where we just spoil the living shit out of a new release. And I believe Infamous will be a good first game to do this with.
That would be good. Yeah, look for that first episode of the spoiler cast, and we're gonna dive deep, talk about every aspect of the game, the story, which means we'll be talking about spoilers. So be sure to watch or listen after you beat the game. Preferably after Good and Evil, because there's alternative endings. So, yeah.
I wonder if
I would hate for you to beat it on Good or Evil, and then you hear us talk about the opposite. It kind of ruin it for you. So, yeah. Which, the game's not that long. I mean, it's just like the other Infamous titles. I mean, you can beat it relatively fast, so...
Oh, man. It's a good thing I do have... So, I have the next couple days off. Because I'm in the part of my training at my doctor's job where they're like, oh, we're gonna evaluate you to see if you're a good fit to work here. So like, yeah, you have the next couple days off, and we listen to a bunch of calls and whatnot, and evaluate your typing and all that shit. So I have the next couple days off. So I am going to be playing the ever living shit out of Infamous Second Son, and praying to Christ I have a job come Tuesday. One of my jobs, I should say. Speaking of that, I may be reviewing a high-end gaming PC soon. At a place that only people on the West Coast are going to give a shit about, because those are the only people who can buy from them. Anyway.
I'm sorry, that sounded a little funny.
So it's true. I mean, they don't ship to the East Coast.
Probably because they're not a giant company. Their shipping bill is going to be like $200, right?
Yeah, exactly. So You know, like I said, just look out for that fun stuff. So we talked about Metal Gear. We talked about the HDCP stuff, which, like, hallelujah, hallelujah, glory be, hallelujah. Like, I thought that we, like, literally a couple days before this, I was asking Nick, like, hey, can we do a $20 expense on a fucking splitter so we can finally cover these PS4 games with Infamous coming out? You know, and what do you know? They announced that it's going to be a couple weeks away, but the fact that it's happening just it makes life for Anthony and I 1,000 times easier.
And the funny thing is, honestly, like, we don't know for sure, but to freaking turn HDCP off, I'm sure all it is like changing one line of code in the operating system. But they probably had to get the rights from all these people and all that stuff, whatever.
And you want to know what's weird? You can flip it on and off. Like, that is the weird part about this to me. It's like,
but no, the thing is that what you're concerned about is that it needs to flip on and off at the right time, so that way people don't put malicious code through the system and break through it and then start bootlegging Netflix.
Well,
that's the concern.
No, I mean, literally, it is a flip. Like, you go into the settings, and
yes, and you don't want people to be able to access that setting in some way. Therefore, being able to bootleg Netflix, because people who break through PS3s and Wii's and 3DS's and Xbox 360s, they're not dumb. They spend entire days, weeks, years on this stuff. Okay? Yeah. It's intense.
Which, yeah, that's probably why they've been taking.
It's like,
so
it's just a
long
simple
to
switch. You can just turn it off and off like the 360 does. Yeah, but you got to make sure that it is doing it securely so people don't break through and do things to it when it's not supposed to do things.
Yeah, which is probably why it took them so long. They wanted to get that whole situation.
Yeah, but the thing is that at the same time, though, I really do think this is something they should have already figured out the door.
Yeah.
I mean, freaking, you had years of the PS3 where the only way you could actually capture footage is to run it through component cables. You can't do it through HDMI.
Which I get that we are such a fucking minority bitching about this. Like, we are an incredibly small
We may be
minority.
a minority, but you think about it.
Especially with Twitch being built into the console.
Now, here's the thing. We may be a minority, but gaming media is a huge part of gaming culture. You think about it. How else do you think that you could have watched people ridiculously pulling off 100% on Expert in Guitar Hero 3? How else could you have seen that?
No, Anthony, I understand that, but, like, in the case of the really, really big companies, like, they're just going to be like, oh, we're just going to buy strippers, and, you know, we're going to have, and in the case of really, really big ones like IGN, they'll just have debug units. And in the case of, you know, it really sucks for the middle tier guys like us, because the really, really small people are just going to go on Twitch, and the really, really big people have the equipment. For people like us who are kind of that middle ground, or the mid-sized YouTubers, or even the bigger YouTubers, they're just kind of just sitting out there going like, well, shit. You know? Like, that's how that is.
Yeah.
So...
But moving along, we're getting to the biggest news of the week. GDC is going on right now, and Sony has announced their introduction into virtual reality with Project Morpheus. It's currently in its prototype stage. No dates or prices have been announced. All we really know is it features a head-mounted display with 1080p resolution and a 90-degree field of view. It also has an accelerometer and gyroscope sensors. It can be tracked by the PlayStation camera and be combined with the PlayStation Move controllers, which is pretty interesting, using 3D audio. What's pretty interesting, they're still supporting the PlayStation Move, but they were showing a tech demo during GDC. I wish we were there. But they were showing a tech demo where this person had the Project Morpheus on, they had the PlayStation Move controllers, and they were looking around and they were controlling their arms with the PlayStation Move controllers. And this works all off the PlayStation 4 camera, which is pretty cool. No prices have been announced. It's probably, if I had to take a guess, probably going to be pretty expensive. If I had to take a guess, probably be like $250, $300. Like, this isn't going to be like $100 accessory because it's probably costs only a pretty penny to make. But what do you guys think? What are your guys' thoughts on VR? I mean, Oculus Rift is getting a lot of attention. Sony's getting into it. Microsoft has went out and said that they're also working on virtual reality. Do you guys really think virtual reality is the future? What do you guys think?
No, just no. Stop it.
Here's the thing. Virtual reality, I almost look at it like a Kinect. Minus an awful presentation. I almost look at it like a Kinect. As a research tool, and as a tool for developers, and as a tool for academia and professional research and all that kind of stuff, this thing is so cool. You could do so many cool things with it. It's unbelievable. You could just sit down and have a virtual tour of an entire college campus without even having to be at the campus. You just sit down, put it on, and play a video through the darn thing. It looks so cool. However, as something for entertainment, like watching a 2-hour movie or games, I don't think it's going to work. And not because it's expensive. Because yes, I understand things get cheaper. My concern is that this thing takes up your entire field of vision. When you play a game, you don't get disorientated or motion sick because you still kind of have an idea of reference. You can see the frame around your computer monitor or TV. You can still tell you're sitting on a couch and you're not disorientated. However, when you have your entire field of vision gone, or not gone, but taken up by this giant thing, all of a sudden the whole world around you looks like it's moving, but your body's not feeling like it's moving. So I think a headache could happen out of this.
Well, yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like, when I tried the Oculus Rift at E3, which, by the way, they're progressing so far on that. Like, it's so much better than the first time I tried it out. But it was crazy because it, like Anthony said, it really makes you feel like you're in there. So in the Oculus Rift, and I will never forget this, you, like, start flying and, like, moving, and your heart rate actually jumps up. Like, you can feel your heart just start beating super fast. Until it realizes, wait a second, I'm not moving. Like, it's that intense. Like, it really makes you feel like you're there.
It kind of reminds me of those, like, virtual reality rides at arcades. Like, that's what it kind of reminds me of. What you're telling me.
Except those things, they probably have like a moving.
Oh yeah, those
platform.
Things
so your body's at least feeling like it's moving, and you still kind of know it's fake. Whereas this case. I really don't know. The tech is undeniably cool. Flat out, undeniably cool. However, the tech in the Kinect is also undeniably cool, and we have found out that thing is terrible for games.
Hey man, Dance Central's great. I don't know what
Dance Central is great, but can you name me something that isn't dancing that works on the thing? That isn't voice commands. Because I'm not paying $100 for a voice command peripheral. I could just get a normal microphone for that.
Anthony, I paid $100 to play dancing games. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, outside of dancing games, really.
But like I said, I paid $100 to play dancing games. Straight up.
Okay. Yeah, like
I was honest with that purchase. I played Dance Central 2 at PAX with Hayden, and I was just like, oh my god, this is absolutely worth it.
I know, but outside of dancing games, something that isn't dancing, there isn't much.
I thought that rail shooter was alright on it. That was okay. That was pretty good.
Okay, so as far as the Oculus Rift, like I said, tech is undeniably cool. Things are actually light, from how I hear it, which is very good. And this thing is flat out not a Virtual Boy, because it can project way, way more colors, and it isn't 3D. Or maybe it is. I don't know. But I just feel, my concern is the disorientation. Yeah. I mean, I understand it's expensive, but it will get cheaper, but I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Like I said, I think the technology is very cool. Maybe we can get one for review, but I don't necessarily see myself buying one just because it's like
the weird part about this is I just wrote an article about Oculus Rift for a magazine. That's the weirdest part about this right now for me. It's like, oh, all this stuff about how the Oculus Rift is super cool, and this is what it does.
So what can you tell me about the Oculus Rift? Because there's a lot of techie, geeky things that are really cool.
I just did an article for Layman's. Like they just put OLED screens in it. I can tell you that. Like literally just recently. Uses gyroscopes, 90-degree field of vision. What else is in that damn thing? I don't know. Not really. I didn't go really too crazy with it. Why? What am I missing here? Other than the fact that it's a virtual reality headset, so
Yeah,
I'm probably
okay.
just
Um,
anything too crazy.
Here's another concern that I have is that Nick, how long did you have that Oculus Rift for that demo?
I used it was probably about a 10-15 minute demo.
Oh, wow, that's longer than I thought. Yeah, because I kind of feel like the Oculus Rift is almost like one of those things that's really cool for like 5 or 10 minutes. Like, aside from disorientation and possible headaches that could result from this, I just kind of thought, gee, what's something that's really cool about having the Oculus Rift on? Oh, I know, Mass Effect. Wouldn't it be awesome if you freaking had like a first-person Mass Effect and you put the Oculus Rift on and you freaking can see every single conceivable detail about the Mass Effect world through the Oculus Rift? That would have been so cool, and it gets the blood pumping and everything.
And Mass Effect, that was a game where the Kinect was used well.
For voice commands, which was the
Yes.
only thing it used for, and it was really good depending where you used it.
Oh.
But anyways, outside of that, but that would be really cool to see Oculus Rift to that. But then I thought, is this something I'm gonna wear for an hour? And then I thought, probably not.
Well, yeah. See, that's the thing is like extended gameplay sessions is where I think this becomes a real issue because it's just I don't know having something that bulky on my like it's a prototype,
Well,
but size
they
wise,
said
probably
it's
stay around
going
the
to be
same.
lighter.
Well, yeah,
Look,
see, that's the thing. Like
the other thing I'm concerned about is that if you use this to play a shooter, I don't know how resilient people are against motion sickness, but if your entire field of vision is taken up by a shooter and the camera is flailing everywhere because you're trying to aim as quickly as possible, I don't know how sick people are going to get from this. Because that's a lot of spinning around.
yeah.
Yeah. So, to be honest, though, I have never even seen the thing. I've only heard of it. Some people are getting hyped and said it's like the next revolution in gaming. This is a revolution, not some new gimmicky controller features like touchpads or saying, no, this will be a revolution because it will bring you into the next step of immersion to your game. Something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have
Which
to
I can understand, but I don't. But if I can't really do it for more than an hour, it's going to be a little difficult because 3D screens have proven that is not the next step.
It's really ironic how like everyone wants to push like immersion, and I have noticed that recently. I just do not give a fuck about immersion in games. Like just
well, the reason why people push these new expensive unaffordable things to people all the time is that someone has to start. Like nothing.
No.
Nothing.
I am talking games in general. Like there is a huge push for like immersive games, immersive experiences, where first person, motion blur, da 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 da. And I sit here, and the game that I have enjoyed, my favorite game this year so far, has been Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze.
I think the problem is that that's too many people promise immersion that it has just become another average word.
Well, like even like Metal Gear and a ton of great games try and do it, and even then I'm just kind of like, don't really like. I just want good fun games, and if you can be immersive while doing it, like The Last of Us, that's great. But at the end of the day, if you suck at it, or your overall game just isn't as good as another game, then I'm still gonna want to play the other game. So
I think it also kind of depends on what they mean by immersive. Hollywood,
yeah,
high fidelity visuals and sound.
Yeah, there's that too.
Like to me, the problem with the word immersive is that it has been to so many people have used the word that it has just become another word. It's like the word epic. Like why? Like I don't like. I freaking like I describe things as grand. I don't use the word epic because after the movie 300 and after Twilight Princess and after Lord of the Rings, everyone has kind of beaten the word epic to death.
You know, it's really hard for me to believe how old that 300 is actually getting kind of old.
Yeah.
Like that. Like that
when did that movie came out? It was like 06?
That came out during our sophomore year of high school.
So 08, right? That was when that was like the internet meme, basically.
Yeah.
Today we dine in hell. This is Sparta. Kick.
Yeah. Like that. Just it was.
The Rickroll was also from 2008. I feel like an old man now thinking about that.
Yeah, that's Anthony.
That was 6 years ago.
Yeah. Imagine what we're going to be saying in 2017. Like, hey, remember 10 years ago?
I've got a perfect statement. We are closer to 2017 than we are to 2007. Yeah, someone said that on Facebook, and all of a sudden I'm just like, oh my goodness.
We're much closer.
Yeah, 2017 is only 3 years away.
You want to really feel bad? We're closer to 2020 than 2007.
Freaking my brain right now,
like
our brains are kind of a bit stuck in the late 2000s because that's where we spent high school. So it was like, oh my goodness.
Well, yeah, because high school is just such a point in your life where you're developing so much.
Like the late 2000s, I was an Xbox person. The late 2000s, I was all for Xbox, and I was buying the big AAA games: Mass Effect, Dragon Age, Forza, Gears of War. Stuff like that. And it was really cool. Didn't care about PlayStation at all. And then here I am today, just not caring one bit about the Xbox and caring probably even less about AAA games these days.
Yeah, man, it's weird. Like I'm in this other, I'm in a camp similar to that where I'm just like, I used to be a hardcore PlayStation fan with a slight Nintendo side, but now I just play everything. And
yeah, me, back in the day, I used to be a huge BioWare fan because, BioWare was one of my absolute favorite developers, and now it's like, I don't care. Yeah, good luck, BioWare.
I'm still a huge Blizzard fan, and they have been showing footage of the Heroes of the Storm alpha, and I'm just like, Blizzard just release.
Yeah, you're a Blizzard fanboy. That is still true.
Release Heroes of the Storm when that comes out. It's free to play, but I'm gonna buy like every skin for every Warcraft character.
And I'm just gonna sit here thinking, dear goodness, I gotta learn another MOBA now.
To be fair, supposedly it's really easy to learn. Like it is the Smash Brothers of MOBAs.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a very important point to stress. Like, this isn't something that I think is gonna find its way into a tournament scene. I'm pretty sure there will be a group of people that will try to make it a tournament scene, but if they make this like Smash Brothers, where it's one of those, we're not gonna make it impossible to learn. We're just gonna make it easy, so you can have, the sense of the MOBA fun without the MOBA technicalities.
No, one thing that I saw, so you can get mounts for your character to ride to move around the battlefield quicker, and one of the skins I saw was a rainbow unicorn, and I was just like, I'm
Bronson, I have a unicorn in Final Fantasy XIV.
I have a unicorn zebra in WoW.
How is that better? It's just a unicorn with stripes.
Hey, you know what? There you go.
It's a unicorn, it's a unicorn, but has the added perk of stripes. Few jelly people.
Well, it's just like my laptop, the fucking trackpad. So for those of you who don't know about
I got something better. I got something better than a light-up trackpad.
Alright.
I went to the Sager Notebook website because one of our friends kept recommending it. They've got something even better. A light-up trackpad that lights up a logo.
Oh, damn. Son.
So you know what you're using at night.
So for those of you who have no idea what we're talking about, I bought an Alienware laptop in the last year. To use as, and it has a light-up keyboard, but when you touch the trackpad lights up.
And it can light up in any color.
In any color you, yeah.
See,
same with the keyboard.
I personally think that is a retarded. Okay, I wouldn't say retarded. It's a really stupid feature because a light up keyboard makes sense because there are many keys on the keyboard, and when you're using in a dark room, or in a darker room, it's kind of good to light up the key so you know where each button is.
Me,
With the track,
Anthony, me, I am the vampire.
Yeah, and well, where I sit in my room, it's kind of dark on where I sit in my room actually. So, but it's kind of nice to have keys that light up because there's like 101 keys on the board. So, but a trackpad has like what, 2 buttons and a heat sensitive pad. That's it. Like, the thing doesn't move. It's not that hard. You know where the trackpad is. It's always at the center, bottom center of your keyboard. But they light the thing up, and I just kind of thought, this is just a retarded feature, and it's just another expensive thing that could break.
Also, there's a light on the bottom of the damn laptop, too. A light that wraps around it.
Yeah, but that's more like, kind of like a show-off aesthetic thing.
Yeah.
Which is slightly less... It's slightly less dumb than the light up trackpad, but I'm just kind of like a guy that just isn't about flash. So that's why I find lighting like that kind of dumb. Actually, to be honest, lights on a laptop I never really deemed that interesting because to me I'm a little too practical and I just think lights is another way to kill the battery, even though I know that you can shut them off in the settings.
Yeah, and that's what I would do if I was traveling.
If I had an Alienware, I would keep the lights off all the time. Because it gives me slightly better battery life and it doesn't make me look as dumb. I swear, it's like neon lights on a car sometimes. That's what I sometimes think about computer lighting. It's like, yeah, I've got neon lights, but when you're driving a car, you don't ever look at it. In addition, that's just another thing that's going to break on the system. And it's just for aesthetic reasons, and it kind of makes you look like a show-off.
Oh, if I was taking college classes still at the campus, I would absolutely light my laptop up in bright pink. just bright pink, make sure everyone can see it. I mean, I already got looks carrying my old laptop, which was smaller and had red lights. Is the color I chose red for its lights, so that was the default color. And this new laptop had blue as the default, which I've left on it. But man, if I was back in college, pink all day, bright pink.
See, that's the thing. I don't want to show off to people that's like, look, I've got an expensive laptop, and it's not a Mac. You know, something like that. Like I don't like.
No, it's not to show off. It's just I like the for me, I personally like the color pink. And
but see, I don't put lights on because it's distracting. And if I did put a light on, I would put it in a very dim light, and even
the
then,
teacher's given like
temporary.
a lecture on the projector, and Bronson's laptop's like lighting up the room still.
You can actually program the thing to be like a disco ball effect or something like that.
Yeah, dude, I can have it go strobe light.
Wow.
Which is great if you're one of those musicians who don't really have a way to do strobe lighting at a low-end gaming convention of sorts.
I know a lot of DJs who fucking love Alienwares for that exact reason. I know tons of DJs who mix on Alienwares because of that.
I've never seen a DJ on a Alienware. Every time I've been to a nightclub or whatever, the DJ's always on a Mac.
Yeah, because the Mac is the only media system that you're allowed to buy.
That's right, because we all work on Macs at the Gamer Access.
Oh yeah, I've totally got a Mac computer, alright. Because it can totally play Final Fantasy XIV.
Oh yeah, not for gaming, not for gaming. Everything else, though, I definitely prefer Mac. But not for gaming.
Speaking of Macs, I had the dumbest thought go through my head because my laptop's getting really old. And I'm like, well, at the end of the year, I'm certainly going to need to upgrade this thing. And for about a good 30 seconds, I thought, let's see, MacBook Pro. What can I do on a MacBook Pro? I don't exactly game on my laptops, but I sure do a lot of media work. Yeah.
Well, speaking of new laptops and computer stuff in general, we got two news stories. One of them is
Well, but before we get into that, sorry, let's just talk about Titanfall really quick. Usually, when a big title launches, especially from Microsoft, they're usually one of the first companies to go out there and say, "Hey, we sold bajillion copies within the first 24 hours." And they didn't do it this go round with Titanfall, but an inside source is reportedly saying that despite Titanfall launching the week the PlayStation 4 still outsold the Xbox One that week, and that Titanfall sold 700,000 copies in what I believe the first week.
considering. Here's the thing: is that on Xbox One only, or is that on PC also?
Let's see, that's
I highly doubt they disclose PC downloads.
Yeah, that's Xbox One, but that's worldwide. Which, like I said, this is from inside source, reportedly, so it may not even be 100% accurate, but it is kind of interesting to not hear numbers from Microsoft.
700,000 copies is not bad for a system that has like an install base of like 4 million.
It isn't. Not bad at all. And do you guys see that they delayed the Xbox 360 version again?
They just want to kill it, don't they?
Also, how many copies did someone catch the Dark Souls numbers for last week? Anyone?
I did not.
I'm gonna check it out.
1.1 million or something?
Oh yes, called it.
Bronson's right.
But called it.
Well, we have to wait. The official numbers may say different, so we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, so doesn't look like.
Speaking of Dark Souls 2, we played it on 60-minute access.
I actually put a counter on it. Yep. Well, I didn't put a counter that updates every time you died. I just put it at the beginning of the video that says how many times you died so far. I forgot what the count was. I can check.
I know I got to the third video and we were up to 10. So
yeah, then we started chucking. Yeah, and then you started chucking, or Bremen started just chucking at the Dragon Rider and just falling flat really badly.
Here's my thing. With Titanfall and Xbox 360, they delayed it again till April 8th. Here's my thing. I honestly do not think this is a genuine delay because by now the game should be gold and they should be printing copies to ship to the retailers. It's the 20th.
They are making it so people try and impulse buy.
Yeah, what they're trying to do.
Because it's like, you think about it.
What they're doing is, I honestly think, because like I said, Microsoft's been super quiet since the game launched. I think Microsoft's like, wow, it didn't quite do what we expected it to do. We expected Xbox Ones to fly off the shelf. We expected it to do Call of Duty and sell at least 1.5 million copies the first week or whatever, which it may have. I don't know. We haven't seen the official numbers yet. And they're like, wow, well, let's give it another week. Let's just delay the game. Because they honestly did not. They said they're doing it to make sure it's the best experience. It's like, that's bullshit. Like, the game's fucking done now. Like,
it's
come
done
on
the Xbox One, and considering that the game was originally made on 360, yeah, it's just like, they just want to kill it now.
Well, yeah, that game's done because
do they just want to kill the 360 version?
Like I said a couple weeks ago, I honestly think we're gonna see the 360 version come out, and it's gonna perform almost on par with the Xbox One version. It might not look quite on the level visually, but it's gonna be pretty close and deliver the similar experience. And then people are gonna be like, "Well, hold up a second, like, why don't I just get 360 version?" Which Boston, we also have to see. We have to give it a month. Remember, it was a month.
Yeah, we agreed on,
and we agreed on Xbox One and Xbox One and PC and Xbox 360.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, I honestly think Microsoft it didn't get the sales because that's the thing. Like, to get delayed at the very last moment like that, like, that's bullshit. Like, come on now. Like, you guys saw the sales numbers. You guys probably weren't impressed. You're like, oh shit, let's delay the 360 version again.
So one thing that I want to talk about with this is Microsoft, if you want to sell your console, Lower the price by $100.
Which I think, honestly, the only way they can do that right now without eating too much is removing the Kinect.
Which
they won't do because they are most insistent that the Kinect is part of the Xbox One ecosystem.
Well, but here's the other thing. Like, people make the Xbox One out to be like it's not selling well. It's selling great. It's the best-selling Microsoft console to date. It's just not competing with the PlayStation 4, but at the same time, like PlayStation 4, no console ever in video game history has been on the pace that the PlayStation 4 is. So it's
and actually, Sony just said at GDC that they cannot keep up with demand. And from what I have seen at my local stores, that's like it's not like the Wii was, where it's like, oh my god, these things disappear within fucking minutes. But like, I don't see PS4s hanging around stores for more than a day or two. Like, I don't.
Well, yeah, but the difference is with the Wii, Nintendo wasn't producing many of those during that time.
Well, they were producing as many as they could. Like, Nintendo was straight up in like we're trying.
Yeah. But yeah, the PlayStation 4 is like demolishing records. So just because Xbox One isn't selling quite as well as the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One's selling very well. And with Titanfall, Titanfall definitely. People who said that was going to be like the next Call of Duty, I don't think it will be the next Call of Duty. At least this go around. Maybe once it's multi-platform with the second title, it might get to half the popularity. They practically
confirmed that Titanfall 2 is going to be multi-plat.
It definitely will be. Definitely.
Like, unless Microsoft buys those rights.
Which, honestly, I only think Microsoft would have bought the rights if Titanfall became, like, this huge success. Like, it became, like, the next Gears of War, for example, which it's not. It's just not on that level. Like, Titanfall, gamers know what it is, but Titanfall it isn't out there like these, like, Halo was, or Gears of War, or Call of Duty.
I mean, Microsoft was really counting on this to be their anchor, right? Like, they were going to do the same thing they did with the original Xbox with Halo and the 360 with Gears of like, all right, we're going to anchor our system with this one game and then back it up with a bunch of other games that are of, solid, good quality and have a good online service.
See, that's the thing. Like, that's where Microsoft's kind of in trouble because it's like, you look at this point, like, okay, Titanfall's released, Ground Zeroes, which is on both consoles, is out. Sony just released Infamous. It's like, up to this point, like, following to the end of the year, I'm sure we'll have more titles announced during E3 and such. And, supposedly Halo's still come out this year, but there's a lot of rumors that it's being delayed.
I'm telling you right now, Halo 5 gets delayed next year. But it's the 10th anniversary of Halo 2. We're getting Halo Anniversary 2.
Well, yeah, that's probably that's what's rumored. So that's probably what's gonna happen.
Guarantee that's gonna happen. Like, the voice actor of Master Chief came out and was he was like, oh yeah, we're doing Halo 2 Anniversary, and then he's like, what? Never mind. No, what? No, I have that. That was just me speculating. What?
Yeah.
Not at all.
Considering that everybody out there is remaking their old games 5 times. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Halo 2 Anniversary is happening.
So we're kind
Halo 2, 1 deserves it, because it's amazing. It was a rush game, but man, it was a revolutionary game. And 2, that game was super rad. And also, if anything, I actually do think that there are a lot of old school Halo 2 fans who would actually buy an Xbox One to relive the magic of the game.
Well, I can somewhat understand the argument. I literally said that if they remade Twilight Princess, I would instantly go buy a Wii U, no matter how expensive it was.
Well, I bought
just stupid decisions like that can't.
I just bought a collector's edition of Final Fantasy X HD, and I bought a Wii U for HD Wind Waker. So
and I got talked into for buying a Wii U because of HD Wind Waker. Thanks, Bronson.
Hey, Anthony. Infamous is pretty great, and
actually, Bronson. The Zelda bundle worked better because 1, it's a bundle. 2, it was actually better value in the long run. 3, it's a Zelda game. Infamous doesn't work as well because one, they didn't bundle this with the system yet. Two, I don't care enough about Infamous, even though it's the most amazing Infamous yet.
I'm not.
Three,
Destiny's coming.
Well, then talk to me about Destiny when Destiny actually is close to coming out.
That's what Aaron.
Because I'm planning that the earliest that I'm going to get a PlayStation 4 is this holiday season. So I'm not buying it any earlier because last year's game expenses were a bit much,
so
especially with the Wii U.
With the purchase of the Xbox One and this PC last year, I literally do not have any hardware to buy for a very long time.
You have everything.
Yeah,
you got the Wii U, PS4, Xbox One, 3DS, and Vita.
Yeah, I am.
You are good. For me, I don't have a Vita.
You don't really.
You're not really missing out on much.
Bronson tells me I'm missing out on a lot of JRPGs, specifically this thing called Persona 4: The Golden.
If you like JRPGs, let me tell you that is.
And not to mention, I kind of need something to replace my iPod Touch, which is now going to be almost 4 years old. Like, you know, the PS Vita kind of looks like a pretty cool media system that can actually play games, and you know that OLED screen is nice.
Well, the OLED's kind of gone now, though.
You can still find those originals out there, though.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but if I ever get a Vita, if I even get one, it's probably going to be the LCD kind.
Also, the LCD screen is not bad at all.
Well, no, I mean, it looks good.
And I've actually heard some people say that in some games it looks more natural. Like, I've heard people saying Killzone, because the colors aren't as vibrant, it actually creates a better look. So, I don't know, I think for a game like Persona, it'll look worse, because Persona is all about bright colors, but I don't know. Yeah, no, if you like JRPGs, though, the Vita is an amazing system. Final Fantasy X, Persona 4, Persona 3, I mean, just the list goes on and on and on. Also, indie games. It has a lot of really good indie games for it that happen to be cross-buy with PS3 and PS4. So, I mean, there you go. But yeah, and the real irony of all the systems, right now, if someone asked me, which of these should I buy? I would say, get a 3DS. It is the best system out of these. It's the one that actually has games.
And a lot of games. And it's affordable. Yeah. And you can play it for hundreds and hundreds of hours. And because you can take it anywhere with you, you can add even more hundreds of hours. Like, I freaking...
It's really ironic that a system that I kept around because of Street Pass. Like, yeah. I was like, I'm gonna sell this. Vita's coming out soon. Their only game I'm really playing for is Zelda. Mario's not out for a long time. Like, I'll get another one then. And
it's quite amazing because, I saw a friend of mine, and he showed me his 3DS XL, and I looked into his activity log, and he had 550 hours of Monster Hunter 3, and I would street pass
550 hours
of
Holy
Monster Hunter
crap.
3. And look, the thing you have to understand, this is a portable system, so you could pretty much take this to college and just play it outside of class. And because it's portable, you can play it when you're not at home. And I would street pass with people all over college, and a lot of them still play Animal Crossing.
A lot of people still play Pokemon.
A lot of people still play Pokemon. And
this should tell you everything about Pokemon. When I used to work at AT&T, hey, guess what, guys? When you work at AT&T, and there's a ton of gamers, because let's be honest, gamers are nerds. Anthony's a nerd. I'm a nerd. Nick's a nerd. We're all nerds. But so I was working at AT&T doing tech support. First off, I go in there. I get 8 street passes every day, and every single last one of them, Pokemon, with the occasional Animal Crossing.
Well, the thing is that when you were working there, it was when Pokemon just came out.
Well, yeah, but I was there still a whole month later, and still.
Yeah, but a month later, you barely finished Pokemon and can still play it.
Yeah, I put 35 hours into it so far. Speaking of which, did I tell everyone? I haven't told anyone about that crazy trade yet, but Someone traded me a Palkia for a Jigglypuff. What the fuck?
Is it a legit Palkia though?
I don't know. It's just a
Because that's the
problem.
because that's the problem is that back in the days when I actually played Pokemon Diamond, when they first introduced this global trade system GTS thing, I cloned a Suicune because I traded from Coliseum to Emerald, cloned it and moved it up to Diamond, and I'd say I don't like a Palkia, and I have a Suicune, and I was given a Palkia. The thing was that the Palkia was blatantly fake because it was shiny and in a special Pokeball.
No.
At least I'm highly, highly sure that it's a fake Palkia, and it still happens.
Well, either way,
because back in those days, it was pretty easy to fake a Pokemon instead of being legit.
Either way, Palkia has joined my team because I need someone with water moves, and he has them. So right now, my team for when people actually want to battle is Blaziken, Charizard, Mewtwo, Xerneas, Palkia, and then my last spot is a rotation between Haunter and Pidgeot. So, there you go. If I could somehow find a way to transfer my Pokemon from Ruby all the way up to X, I would put Grounded in for Pidgeot then. So yeah, that's... Anyway, Project... Oh, hey, we were going to talk about the new laptops and stuff, right? Yeah. So, Razer just announced some new products. Razer, the fine makers of high-quality but extremely expensive and stylish gaming accessories and equipment, and also seems to be sponsoring half of all League of Legends and Dota players, I swear, because they all have those fucking headphones.
They basically have this image of they are the ultimate gaming accessory peripheral manufacturer.
For headphones, it's them and Astro. For everything, for keyboards, it's Razer. For mice, it's Razer.
Yeah, freaking, you get all like these endorsements too, and you know, get all this testimony. Like, you freaking just go to Best Buy and look at their demo stand where you can kind of push the keys on the keyboard to see how it's like before you buy it, and they'll have all these endorsements from like I think it's like CLG, which is like one of those big groups in League of Legends, and StarCraft players, and yeah.
Yeah, no, I did. So, they announced their newest series of the Razer laptop. They're actually upgrading to a 1080p screen finally. They're also updating the screen so it's no longer mediocre. They are also going to go to the 800 series of cards, so it's an 870. And I forgot the other changes that they're doing. But that is going to be their refresh for the Razer Blade line.
And did they announce the price?
Same as the old ones. So starts at $1,800 and goes up depending on the hard drive size you want. They're all SSDs, but starts at 128 gigs. Then there is then it goes to 256 and then 500. So I don't know. I like the Razer Blade. I would very much considered it when I was looking for a laptop last year, but just I buy asinine priced computers. Like, just no doubt about that.
Especially, well, to be honest, though, there's justification for that. For example, I am very, very tempted to have an overpriced laptop because, one, I very highly value that this thing is going to last me 5 years, which means performance. Performance has to last me for 5 years. Why? Because I certainly don't want to buy a laptop every 2 years because it doesn't render my videos fast enough. Because when you are a video guy like me and Nick, you can never have enough power to edit videos. Because it kills your productivity when you have to sit and wait 10, 20, 30 minutes for a series of 60-minute access to render. So freaking go Core i7s, and those still aren't enough. Like, for the average consumer, those things are freaking overkill. But for
Yeah,
us,
there's no
we
such
can't.
thing as too much power.
When you are
involved in
making
video.
videos, you can't have enough power. Until the day comes where I can make a video and have it rendered in 5 seconds, I will be happy. But it's not there yet. So I need a lot of power.
I have an i7
in order for it
on
to
my
be...
machine, and for me, it is overkill.
Yeah, an i7 for most gamers and the average consumer is overkill.
Yeah, I have an i7 in my MacBook Pro, which is going on 2 years old. It'll be like 2 years old this summer. But when it comes to rendering videos, it does really well, really well. I mean, it wouldn't do as well as if I had like a custom build. If I was using like my custom PC, like I have this nice custom PC that I rarely ever even use. But I mean, for my MacBook, it does great. Like my next game review episodes that I was doing, which hopefully I hope to bring back one day. There was a lot of stuff going on with those videos. And while they're only 3 or 4 minutes long, there was a lot of video layers, a lot of assets, a lot of transitions, a lot of effects. And I was surprised that my MacBook was rendering them in about 15, 20 minutes, which is pretty good for all the stuff that was going on. I mean, you take probably a basic laptop, like let's say you take like a $400 laptop you can pick up off the market now that has like an i3 in it, you're probably talking about 4 or 5 hours of rendering. So yeah,
let me tell you. Look, I've got the perfect example. So back when we went to CES in 2013, I don't have a fancy laptop. Basically, it's the same laptop I use in college, and but I needed something to render videos when we are not out on the show floor filming interviews. So I get back to my hotel room, I edit the thing, and the thing was kind of stuttering because the thing is only a quad-core AMD, and let's be honest, AMD hasn't made a good mobile processor in like a decade. And it was fine until I say, okay, I've got a 1080p interview, which is totally enjoyable. And I want you to render this 7-8 minute interview, and each video would take 20 minutes.
Yeah, and that's just
I am just letting this computer just sitting
with lower
there.
thirds. Like there's no effects and transitions and not really any layers.
Yeah, doesn't do anything fancy. And this laptop is a pretty average consumer laptop from Costco. And it was just sitting there, running hot, making noise, and I'm tired, and I can't actually sleep until all these videos are rendered so I can get them to Nick for the final touch. So I'm sitting there watching this bar slowly move across the screen at 11 at night, dying from exhaustion in my hotel room after walking for 10 hours. It's unbelievable.
The thing about CES is like we walked so much is I remember taking my socks off and my feet being so sore that the carpet fibers actually hurt to walk on.
I'm pretty sure Bronson remember. Bronson, I'm pretty sure you remember the one.
I warned you guys with CES. There is so much show floor. It's ridiculous.
The Las Vegas Convention Center is colossal, and I'm pretty sure Bronson remembers the one time that I had to go answer the door, and they could hear me go ow, ow, ow as I walked barefoot to the door. It was hurting that much. Like I would rather keep my shoes on. It's like maybe I should like buy one of those like shoe gel things, those Dr. Scholl's things that people actually use, that older people actually use to keep their feet okay.
Like the next time we get the okay, like if we get the okay for CES like months in advance, like we did last time, I am gonna start working out immediately.
Actually, to be honest, here's an amazing thing. Now, Bronson, you know my entire diet at CES consisted of chicken McNuggets.
Yeah, I thought you were
from
gonna
McDonald's.
Die. I was pretty sure you were gonna die.
Well, I was quite confident that I wasn't going to die.
That's
because when I came back from the trip, I noticed that my weight didn't go up. Because any cholesterol or fat I was eating that night was pretty much burned out by 8 hours of walking the next morning.
I mean, yeah, that's how it was at PAX for me. Because when I'm in Seattle, when I'm in Seattle, I go to the Cheesecake Factory, I go to the Hurricane, I eat food that is horrible for you and delicious. But because if you've ever been to a convention, you know you're walking the entire time. Just CES is just 1,000 times more massive, so it's even bigger.
Yeah, CES is no joke.
So, you know, so I get out of and same thing when I'm over at PAX. It's just you are burning so many calories that it doesn't really even matter. Anyway, they also released Project Chris. Back to what the original topic. They also talked about Project Christine, which is a modular gaming PC, which is just all the parts are specialized parts that are enclosed, and you just slide them in and slide them out. Basically, imagine just all right. So imagine a computer that is kind of like console accessories,
Cartridges
yeah,
with computer
like,
parts.
basically.
But the problem with this plan is there's several problems with this plan, and the biggest problem is that first off, there's the price. For one thing, you can't really put a video card in unless you buy that special modular thing, or you put the video card within a modularized part.
Yeah.
And so you've got so now you can only put approved video cards or video cards that can fit in approved cases. Second, so it's going to be expensive because you need all this modularity thingy, convergence. And third off, isn't building a PC pretty modular already?
Yeah, no,
Because
Anthony, this is for the same people you know who this is for? Aaron, if he didn't want his machine to be portable. This is who this is for. This isn't for
I'm
you
still
and
a little
Nick or
baffled by
I, where this isn't for you, Nick or I, where we can just go, oh, I want a new video card, swap, update drivers. All right, we're good to go. This is for Aaron, who's just like, yeah, swap it out with a cartridge real quick.
And you're willing to pay a few extra $100.
Well, I mean,
just to do this. Like, you think about it, this isn't like with a game cartridge, you're always swapping the thing out all the time. With a computer, you're probably swapping your parts out only like once every 2 or 3 years, maybe at most once every year. That's not very often. And it's not, and to be honest, building, like, I always argued that building PCs are always kind of difficult, but at the same time, you always looked at, I always kind of thought, well, at the same time, if you're willing to spend a little bit of time, it isn't actually that hard to swap something out. This isn't like in like the late 90s where I remember having this PC where swapping a video card could stop the whole thing from working.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it just feels unnecessarily expensive.
Well, you just described Razer's game. Why do they need a laptop that's the height of a dime?
Because it's easier to carry.
Okay, but like they could have made it the size of a normal laptop. Didn't need to be the height of a dime.
I guess that's probably just bragging. But in the case of this modular thing, I don't feel like it's bragging, if I'm honest. Because to be honest, it's not. I don't think it's that hard to swap a video card. To build a PC is complicated because you have to think of chipset compatibility. Does my CPU fit in this socket? You gotta make sure that my hard drives run in AHCI mode instead of IDE mode. You gotta make sure
your power supply.
Which, by the way, believe it or not, and this is gonna make some PC enthusiasts out there cringe. I did not realize that my computer had spent the last 2 or 3 years with its hard drives in IDE mode. Yeah, it was running on an ancient mode. I should have switched to AHCI, and I didn't actually switch it until last November when I finally got an SSD for my computer, and realized that I had to switch it to AHCI for best performance. Yeah. Freaking, I didn't even know about that. So, building a PC is complicated because you always have to look for compatibility issues. Will this fit in this? Whereas with a video card, it's kind of like PCI Express. Every video card out there these days uses PCI
but
Express.
Even then you still have to be careful because it's like what someone may try is they might buy an off the market desktop, and that off the market desktop has a crappy 200-watt power supply, and they're like, well, maybe I want to step it up.
That's also
a
a problem
graphics
too.
card in here, and then all of a sudden it doesn't work.
which I do believe brings up to another point, which is while this Razer Project Christine,
Christine.
Yep. While it may make it more modular, it doesn't solve the problem of you might need to change your entire power supply. Basically, what they did was they just kind of made it more toolless.
Yep.
Because you still have to think, okay, is this the video card I need? How much power does this video card take? Does this video card give me enough performance, or is it overkill, or is it underpowered? And oh man, maybe I need to swap out this modular power supply. In addition to that, like I said, it goes back again to the specialized casing and parts that you're gonna have to need to make this whole thing modular, and it just feels extremely expensive. Granted, I know that nothing about Razer is
prices or any. It's project code names. Yeah, they don't have a price for it.
I understand that Razer is not cheap anyway. I mean, this is the same company that tried to make an i7 powered tablet that can play games, and they actually made it and sold some of them. And their stuff is really expensive, but I don't really see a very good value in this modular computer design. It's just basically they're just making it take fewer tools. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, like I really enjoy toolless cases. Like I know
toolless cases are kind of cool. I mean,
I've said for years that like if Alienware were to release a like consumer version of their toolless case that you can buy, I'd be all over that shit.
Yeah, toolless cases are kind of cool.
What do you mean when you say toolless case? You still have to use tools for like the motherboard and stuff, though, right?
Yeah. Well, yes.
Yeah.
What they mean by toolless is that usually
I have a toolless case for my PC, and I love it. It just has these little screw that you can unscrew and screw back on with your fingers, and then you just slide. You can slide either side or both sides of the desktop case off. Pretty cool. It's a Core Master case. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, But yeah, that modular PC thing is don't think it's a particularly good idea. But Razer is just one of those companies in which they're just kind of throwing a lot of things at the wall and just see what sticks.
What I'm curious of, does Razer ever release sales figures? Probably not, because they're a private company. Because it's just like these products seem so niche, and the fact that they're having to pay a lot of money in research and development.
I know that they did like a huge sponsorship for Video Game High School. Like, I'm not sure if you guys ever watched that web series. It's really good.
They have to be selling pretty well, because it's just like you look at the Razer Blade, and it's like they're coming out with refreshments of it. Obviously, there was a lot of research and development that had to go into that, and it's expensive. It's like they must be selling well, though, because they're staying in business. But it just seems so niche. It's like I said, Razer is private, so they're not really going to release their sales figures. But if they're a public company, I mean, I'm really curious as to what their sales are like. Like I said, they're obviously in the positive, otherwise they wouldn't be in business. But how long do you guys think it will be before they're bought up? Just like Alienware. Like Alienware used to be their own entity until Dell bought them. It's like, who knows? Will Asus or whoever buy Razer in a few years?
I mean, Razer has a lot of really good shit. They make a quality product. So that's good, and they do a ton of sponsorships though. They sponsor.
The thing about it though is that
they sponsor like tons of major gaming events. They sponsored Video Game High School, like endorsements.
They've got endorsements from some of the top gaming professionals out there. You're like Brunson said, like this is Razer, the company. Razer's making this image of being the champion of gaming hardware. And Nick kind of has a point. I sometimes wonder where the hell did they get all this money, because you've got such a niche market. They somehow had the money to make a Core i7 powered gaming tablet. They got the money to make. They made a gaming notebook that's the height of a dime.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, you don't see their their Razer Blade in Best Buy or Target or anything like that. Like,
but here's the thing, though, is
you have to order it straight from them. So it's
but
like,
here's the other thing too.
if it was really flying and a big sell, you would think that like you'd see it in Best Buy and all those stores, but you don't.
But here's the other thing too, is that you'll be surprised how these companies can stay in business. Like, I think of, like, one in particular I could use an example is Falcon Northwest. A basic laptop, the most basic 15.6 inch screen laptop you can buy from them has a starting price of $2,800, and
That's
yet
more than
people,
a MacBook.
way more than a MacBook, and if you look at its standard feature set, you're not getting much more than an Alienware 14. So, like, why the heck do you buy it? And how are they still in business building these insanely expensive desktops and laptops? And then you find out it's because there's a group of people out there who actually buy these things because they want the build quality, the exclusivity, the customizability, and for that very unique factor. It's like, why would you want to buy a Ferrari? How does Ferrari stay in business building all of these cars with all this ridiculous technology? How does Ferrari stay in business? It's because there's actually a customer base out there that are willing to buy that exclusive type of product. And I think that's how Razer stays in business, even though they make these stupid ideas sometimes to make us think, why do you need to make a gaming notebook the thickness of a dime?
Well, yeah, it's just like the Bugatti, Veyron.
Like, who buys a Bugatti? You think about it, it makes no sense. You can't drive it to Walmart because someone's going to scratch the paint. In addition, you can't park the damn thing. And you will never, ever drive it at 253 miles an hour because you're certain to hit a pothole that's going to kill you. And that's assuming you don't get pulled over by the police.
You'd be lucky to hit half of its top speed, but it stays in business because...
And if you want those tires changed, it's going to cost you $5,000.
Well, yeah, because
probably.
Yeah, because that car that they sell for $2.5 million, they only sell 10 to 12 of them a year, but that's enough to keep them in business.
Yeah, so, like, I think that we probably don't realize that
what happens is they just have a really niche market, but their profit margins are probably ridiculously high. So the small amount that they sell makes up for the R&D and everything.
Well, actually, I read this article and
Razer is one of, like, when you think of gaming headsets, there's only really like 4 people who are the top, and if you want
Turtle Beach, SteelSeries,
Astro, and Razer.
Razer, yeah.
And I mean, and to be quite honest, Turtle Beach, everyone is slowly thinking that they're a joke. SteelSeries is kind of like the middle, the middle tier, and then like the high end is Astro and Razer. And though, to be fair, Razer recently has released a mid-tier model. So I mean, like, if you want a high-end headset for competitive play, you're gonna get Razer, you're gonna get Astro, and Astro all they literally make is just headsets. That's all they make. So
I honestly, I would say probably within the next 3 years we're gonna see a Razer bot. I think that's what maybe they're planning to do. Is like build up this company, get a couple good products, and then sell the company off to a larger company. Because I honestly don't see them going like they do similar. Like I said, what Alienware does. Like a lot of people don't know that Dell owns Alienware because Alienware still put out there like, hey, we build machines for the gamers.
Actually, you probably will know that Dell does own Alienware the moment you hit the customize button on their webpage. I'm pretty sure a lot of people know that Alienware is owned by Dell because if you hit customize, it redirects you to Dell's PC customizer pages.
And that's on purpose because you don't want to intrude that brand name because people are used to going to Alienware and getting their gaming PC, but if all of a sudden it's branded Dell, people are like, oh, it doesn't have the same appeal. But if you go there and they kind of hide the fact that, hey, this is Dell, then it still comes off as pristine, which I think we're going to see with Razer. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if we see like Asus buy them.
Yeah, but I really don't know. It's like, I really don't know if Razer is going to be bought or not, because the thing is that they seem quite successful, and I kind of feel like we're not really
plenty of successful companies are bought.
Yeah, I don't think we actually really realize how popular these things are, because if a company like Falcon Northwest that sells a basic laptop that costs at least $2,800 can stay in business, and Razer can do all of this stuff, I don't even know how many of these things get sold, like even with the profit margin. But I feel like like these gaming PCs are sometimes like Porsches. Like I read this blog article on Car and Driver magazine website that says that there's this report that says that Porsche makes an average profit of $24,000 for every car it's sold. $24,000. That's the price
crazy.
of a mid-size family car on every Porsche sold.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
what
it's just
the
like
report said.
the MacBooks. Apple makes a killing in profits off their MacBooks because they're built. Yeah, their build quality is nice, but people buy Macs for the operating system. So I mean, Apple's probably making. I mean, they're making a killing off their MacBooks.
Yeah, but
Apple has some of the highest profit margins on hardware of any company.
So
yeah, apparently quality. I mean, this stuff can sell, and to be honest, it's a very lucrative business because you think about it. How many people out there, like there's this what's this called? I know that in Europe there's this new gaming laptop. Actually, gaming laptops is actually the thing right now. It's not exactly gaming desktop; it's gaming laptops. There's like this new gaming laptop manufacturer called Aurorus or something like that, and they've managed to build this Ultrabook with NVIDIA cards in SLI configuration.
Well, yeah, but I guarantee you that thing's probably at least $5,000.
It's like $2.5, $3,000, and it's real. And from the review I read, it was. Well, it's not like they're exactly the most powerful NVIDIA cards in SLI setup. It's like probably like $3,000 or something.
Still, to be able to get those in Ultrabook, what Ultrabooks are less than an inch thick.
Yeah, it's an Ultrabook with crazy. SLI. Like you'll be amazed that like freaking gaming laptops is like a really lucrative business because lots of people are trying to do it. And they're all like trying really crazy things. Ultrabooks in SLI. We're gonna see if we can make a gaming notebook that's ultra thin like a dime. Freaking lots of ridiculous things.
Well, yeah, it's like I don't get this whole thickness thing. Like with phones, for example, with the iPhone. Like we all know the iPhone 6 is gonna be announced this year, and it's gonna be 20% thinner. And it's like Apple. It's thin enough. Keep it the same thickness. Yeah, and put a bigger battery in it.
Do you know something else? LG has made a bendable phone. They have made a bendable phone. Yeah. I do believe it's bendable because I saw a commercial on it.
Oh yeah, bendable screens has been a thing for a few years.
I know, but they're actually trying to make like a mainstream phone.
Yeah, so I just got the 5S, as I told you earlier in this podcast, and I gotta say that, you know, this is thin enough. This is about as thin as I want something to be.
But because it looks good in marketing, Apple, I mean, certainly they're not going to go thicker. They can't go thicker. But Apple, the next iPhone, they have to say, because it's a remodel, it's thinner, it's lighter, it's like, it's thin and light enough. I'd rather you come out and say it has double the battery life than be like, oh, it's 20% thinner and the battery life is 10% better. Like, come on, you know? Like, this whole thing, like, I understand, like, you don't want a bulky
thinner
laptop
is great
or
because
extremely bulky phone, but, like, it's a certain point where, like, it's enough and it's time to start putting other things in priority.
But here's the thing, though, is that there's like things you could argue. It's like, one, if you've got a thinner phone, you can put it in the same pocket as your 3DS. I find that very appealing. Two, stylish. Apple makes stylish products. Apple's makes you
make the next
like
iPhone extremely stylish with how thin it is now.
Bronson has seen me with my pretty cheap plastic built HP computer, right? If I brought in a MacBook, I instantly look cooler. Which seems hilarious, but it's probably true.
Right, but that's not because the MacBook, unless you have the MacBook Air, yeah, it's incredibly thin, but I have the MacBook Pro, and I mean, it's not incredibly thin.
Well, I'm just talking like
It's
it just
sleek,
looks
but
more
you can
stylish.
be sleek without being razor thin.
Yeah, but thinner
It's like
is more
battery
portable.
then takes a hit, and you always have to be worried about, especially at conventions, man. If you have a phone, you better have a battery backup, or your phone's gonna die.
Oh no, dude! Why do you think at PAX they have fucking in the portable area
Charge
charging
stations.
stations?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
That's why I
and
have a Mophie, not the case, but it's the power station, dual power station Pro or something like that. You can charge two devices off once. It has two USB outputs, and it can charge my phone from dead to fully charged 4.5 times, and it fits in my pocket. I love the thing, 'cause especially like the tennis tournament this past week, they had those charging stations too, but I was good to go because I just had my Mophie, and I charged that thing one time. It lasted me the whole week.
Hey guys,
I
do you
can-
remember the day when your cell
I can actually get my cell phone battery. If I fully charge it the night before, I can get it to last literally right to the end of a full day of PAX. Literally goes dead around 2 in the morning.
Hey guys, remember the day that when you can remember the days that before smartphones existed, you could leave your phone on idle and it would last for like a week?
Well, yeah,
Before the battery
I remember I had the Motorola Razr, and I only had to charge that thing like once or twice a week because it was an idle more than anything, and I was like sending a text here and there, making a call here and there,
Yeah,
and
like
the battery
frickin'
life was awesome. And now we
like
have these magnificent phones that you're charging 2 to 3 times a day.
Yeah, I had this Samsung texting phone. You could barely consider it a smartphone because it had an internet browser, but to be honest, it was just a texting phone with a texting pad with buttons. Oh my goodness, freaking the phone is amazing. I freaking loved it. Like,
Remember
not like
when flip phones were the thing?
Oh, flip phones were cool and actually quite cool and convenient because you didn't have to slide across the screen. You just flip it open, say hello. When you're done, clip it, close, and you're done. But anyways, that Samsung texting phone I had, it freaking had like a keyboard on it, which was amazing because I get haptic feedback on every button I push, so I almost never push the wrong button. If I did push the wrong button, I know exactly where to push, where the backspace key is. It's like typing on a real keyboard. Whereas with all of this touchscreen bullshit, I keep pushing the wrong keys, having to ask Google to correct my garbage spelling because of its awful haptic feedback touchscreen keys. Ugh.
So,
And that Samsung phone, I only had to charge it only once a week because it would take like 4 or 5 days for it to lose a bar of battery life. It was amazing. Of course, I couldn't go on the internet on it or check sports scores.
Gosh, remember how terrible mobile web used to be? Like, I remember trying out the web browser on my Motorola Razr. Oh, it was so bad.
Yeah, I think
I-
those screens
I
were just terrible.
I remember using AIM on my Razr because oh my god, this is.
I remembered using my parents' cell phone, and the best game I could play on it was Blackjack.
I remember playing
On its
awesome.
on its green backlit monochromatic screen. Yeah. Dear goodness, that was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I am really curious now what's going to be like 10 years from today. Friggin'
crazy.
You can't even call them phones anymore. It's like it used to be a phone that did a terrible job doing other things. Now it has become a mini computer that does many things that can also make phone calls. Because let's be honest here, when you're on your phone, you're not using it as a phone anymore.
And then the last feature is, oh yeah, you can call people too.
Yeah, like it's not even a smartphone. These things are computers that can make phone calls. Because let's be honest, a significant amount of time that people use their phones these days is mainly to text, go into the internet, check email, check Twitter, check Facebook,
Twitter, yeah.
Look up stuff on the internet, stuff all of that, and
check their emails.
The phone call is probably only 10% of the time you actually use the thing.
Yeah.
Because calling people has become kind of like a bit of an inconvenience because not everyone's available at the same time, so it's just easier to leave text messages.
Exactly. So, hey guys, questions sound good?
Yes.
Wow, we're out of news already?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know
Okay.
Bronson wants to go ahead and pick up his copy of Infinite at midnight launch too.
Well,
so
he's still got an hour and a half, and I actually do have a news story, and we were actually talking about notebook gaming laptops. Hey, Nvidia has pretty much launched their
800 series.
new GeForce 800M series of video chips. Quite a few of them are refreshed old chips from the 700 series, except for the 850M, which is based on the Maxwell architecture of the 750 and 750 Ti. So some things from some Nvidia charts. I'm reading this quickly. So, Bronson, you have a 760M, right?
765.
765. Okay. That makes it a little harder. Okay. Well, anyways, on the Nvidia chart, if you had a 760M, by going to an 860M, you can expect about 40% faster. If you had going from 750 to 850, 60% faster. 780 to 880 is 15%. So they're pitching it as faster, and they're pitching this new power management system that's promising better battery life, which is nice. Yeah. They call it NVIDIA Battery Boost, which I imagine is another software thingy that runs in the background of your computer trying to control everything. And and with the 800 series, all of them so far, except like the super bad one, like the 820, they all support the shadow play video recording thing. And I do believe this game stream thing also can stream to Twitch. So yeah, and capture videos. Yeah.
Cool. Bringing up Twitch, I might just want to really quick breaking up. Do you guys see that? I don't know if you guys are very well familiar with it, but are you guys familiar with the Asphalt series on iOS, the racing games?
Dude, those were on the DS long before they were there. They were terrible, but yes.
Oh yeah, and yeah, they released a version on the Vita that was like $40-$50, and like iPhone
Probably
was like
equally
99
as terrible.
cents. Yeah, but anyways, so Asphalt 8, which is the latest version on iOS, was actually pretty fun to play on the iPhone. Yeah, I wouldn't pay like a whole lot for it, but 99 cents, they're cool to play. But they're doing Twitch streaming from mobile devices now, and Asphalt 8's like one of the first games. Isn't that crazy? I haven't tried it out to see like how well it works, but the latest update enables Twitch streaming through your iPhone.
Okay, so here's the problem. There's a problem with this. Your PS4 sits at home, right? Same with your Xbox One. And your gaming laptop usually runs at home, right? So you have reliable internet. A phone and a tablet usually gets taken out of the house a lot. So
well, yeah,
what
but when
benefit
you're talking
is
about
there?
LTE being all over the place now, depending upon your carrier. I mean,
Still,
like if you're Verizon,
that's
you have LTE
assuming that
everywhere.
my LTE. That's assuming my LTE has a reliable connection, which on a day-to-day basis never happens.
Like this is just now coming out. It's just like cell phones, like the 3G roll took time. LTE's been going on for a few years now. It's constantly getting better. Like out here, for example, like in LA, I can't remember the last time I was in the LA area and looked at my phone and it was not connected to LTE.
Well, look, my phone has said many times it's connected to LTE, but for some reason, every webpages just kind of refuse to load. They just kind of just hang on idle the entire flipping time, even though it says, "Congratulations, you've got a signal and you've got 4G in your area. Congratulations, you got faster internet speeds." And then every time I want to play YouTube, YouTube just sits there in an infinite buffer, never loading anything. Now, that being said, though, I do have a pretty cheap, lousy Android phone, so that might be the reason, but still, it's like, dear goodness, I would rather be on Wi-Fi right now. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, you know, I don't know. For those people, I mean, you could be playing the game in your house, or be at Starbucks or something, or be at someone else's house. I just don't.
Yeah,
really
but the thing is that at this point,
mobile gaming though.
Yeah, but here's the thing: is that on the iPhone, for some reason, I just kind of feel that they put in Twitch streaming just because it's Twitch streaming. It just doesn't feel like it's adding anything. Whereas in the case of the PS4, it's kind of like, ooh, wow, this is cool. This guy's playing Infamous, or this guy's playing Metal Gear. Man, I want to watch somebody play Asphalt, or Angry Birds, or Farmville on Twitch.
Cut the rope.
Like, does the average mainstream, quote, casual, unquote, gamer actually go on Twitch? Because Twitch, to me, seems like a gaming enthusiast's video network. It's like, it seems like, from how I understand, it seems like the crowd that could care less about who's playing Flappy Birds. Even though that will never have Twitch streaming, but just an example. Yeah. I feel like they just put Twitch in. I feel like the developers just kind of did it as responsive. Oh my goodness! Nvidia's doing Twitch, Xbox is doing Twitch, PlayStation's doing Twitch. Twitch is going to become the next YouTube. Quick! Put into Twitch streaming now. I feel like that's why they did it.
All right. So we got a couple of questions. The first one is to Anthony and I. It was directed at my Twitter. He wants to know, it's the Flex Style Saga, where the fine folks over at OC Remix want to know if we will be at Game Expo 2 this year.
Yes.
Yes. If I can get work off, yes. Or
the fact that it's happening locally just makes it a lot easier for us.
Yeah, like, it's not like PAX, where I have to take off, like, a week and, you know, fly somewhere, or same thing with E3, where it's take off a week and drive somewhere. It's, I need to take off a day, or in this case 2 days, and walk downtown.
Yeah, don't have to worry about flights, hotel.
Yeah, like for us, we just wake up in the morning, eat lunch really early, so we don't have to pay for overpriced food in the casino. Drive to the convention, and oh no, my phone is running low on battery because it's my only video capture device. Here, let me drive back home. Oh no, I don't want to carry this laptop for the next 7 or 8 hours, and it's weighing down on my shoulders. Let me drive home for an hour. Sorry, let me take 1 hour to drive back home, drop my stuff off and charge my phone a little bit, and drive back. Ding.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was
Easy.
that convenient for me because I live in LA and the traffic, but it was really nice this year with E3, like, living just 20-30 minutes away from the convention center. It was so awesome.
Yeah,
like,
it's great.
Not having to worry about paying for a flight and a hotel. It's like I go back home and I have my comfortable bed. I have everything, my game consoles, got everything.
It's kind of nice that after Game Expo, it's just like to come back home and just like, oh wow, I can eat at home.
Yeah.
Granted, it's not going to be like as awesome as all the restaurants Bronson tells me, but still, it's like my bed, my room. Oh my goodness, I just went to a pretty cool game convention and I didn't have to sit in a car for 12 hours on the way back.
Or sit in an uncomfortable plane ride back.
Yeah, unfortunately, though, most cities don't have a gaming convention of any kind, so yeah. It's kind of a bit of a problem for most people. So,
but yeah, we'll totally be there as long as work permits. Yeah.
And we're gonna try and be more entertaining with our quote panel this time.
This time we're just gonna host a live podcast and answer questions. So
yes.
So which basically means
we're quickly learning what actually makes a good panel.
Yeah. So if you want to hear us blather on about something, save it for the questions. Anyway, moving forward, we got also the OC Remix guys. If you don't know who those are, go look for OC Remix and download a bunch of music. Remixes of video game tunes. They're really, really rad. So yeah. Anyway, next question is from Solid. Oh wait, this is him and Nick having a conversation about broken shit on our website. First real question is, what if Don Mattrick knew this was going to happen, so he left to go to Zynga as a holding position and soon will plant his way into PlayStation? LOL, good podcast.
No,
that's not going to happen.
That's been his
I'm
plan.
pretty sure that the board members at Sony would not allow Don Mattrick in.
Look, Don
especially after
Mattrick
the
was
Xbox
the spearhead.
One fiasco.
Look, Don Mattrick was the spearhead of Xbox One's stupidity from the moment the words came out that the Xbox One was about TV, sports, and Call of Duty.
Anthony always gets me with that. TV, sports.
right, guys.
Okay, he was the spearhead of
every single
douchebaggery with
time.
the Xbox One, okay?
Maybe-
Frickin' he
may-
said that, he really is the guy that said that if you wanted an offline console, you go buy a 360. Great, pal.
All right, guys. Maybe it was a
Also
giant...
great that the moment he left, everything about the Xbox One suddenly got better, okay?
All right, so hold on.
Yeah,
Here's
Zynga's a
And
good
it
spot for him.
and it
Zynga
seems that
stocks
Zynga is the
went up
perfect place
tremendously
because
since
those...
he got in.
Yeah, and Zynga seems to be like the perfect place for him because those are the guys who made Farmville, which sucked the life out of casual gaming, especially on Facebook.
So,
Oh,
So-
man.
here's... Oh, my God. All right, so here's what I think. If this was the case, Don Matrick and Jack Tretton met in secret, and Jack Tretton, knowing that he was going to leave, promised Don Matrick his spot when he leaves, as long as he ruined Microsoft. So Don Matrick tanked the Xbox One, moved to Zynga as a holding spot, and will soon come over to Sony.
And Don Matrick is not truly that awful guy that spearheaded the stupidity of Xbox One.
Exactly.
Dear, no.
Yeah,
No,
he's
no,
not
no, no,
coming,
no, no,
he's,
no, no,
he's
no.
not coming to Sony. There's no way.
Somehow I feel like because Zynga just kind of fell off the cliff the last couple of years, Don Matrick and Zynga seems to make perfect sense.
Okay. Moving forward, we got Brody13 says, "What do you guys think of Titanfall's sales?"
We
We
kind of talked about
that.
Yeah, we talked about that,
pretty
but
solid.
it's like we talked about that, but I was kind of a little surprised if the number is 700,000, that's actually a little lower than I thought, even when you consider there's only 4 million Xbox Ones
Yeah,
out
me
there.
too.
Because I
Yeah,
thought that
so-
thing, because I thought that thing was
Especially
going to
with
be
the Titanfall bundles. That's the thing.
yeah. Because
Yeah.
I thought Titanfall being a game that's like talked on Xbox One, I thought it was going to be a little Call of Duty-ish in
Yeah.
its sense that it was going to be like, you will go out and buy an Xbox One. Oh, you're waiting for the 360 version? Well, I guess you're going to miss out now. Like, I thought it was one of those games where people are going to really go buy Titanfall, and then all of a sudden I don't really see those headlines that says Titanfall is making Xbox Ones disappear from shelves.
So,
Yeah, I think I was reading somewhere that the week of Titanfall made Xbox One sales go up like 96%, which is really good, but...
yeah. So, I mean, yeah. It's
kind of sad that... I mean, it
bought
could
the
be because
bundle.
Infamous came in soon after, but it's kind of sad that like this game was supposed to help the Xbox One, and PlayStation 4 supposedly still sold more that week than the Xbox One.
All right, Microsoft. This is what you do. You greenlight Viva Pinata 3. You get working on Season 2 of Killer Instinct. You let's see, what would be another good thing?
Well, Bronson, that sounds all well and good, but we all know what they really need is to release another Gears of War, another Halo,
No, I feel like
release the next
no.
Call of Duty with exclusive content.
Because
Like,
that's
I
been
know it's
working
not
so
all
well
the problem
so
is
far.
that the problem with that is that they've been relying on that tactic for a long time now, and I don't feel like that's going to be exactly the biggest system booster.
All right, but here we go. All right, we get ourselves some Viva Pinata 3, a new banjo. Let's bring back Alan Wake. Let's do another Child of Eden.
Another Dance Central.
I'm down with that. Let's invest in all this IP that you own, which most of it's actually really good IP that you never touch. Let's get a Viva Pinata 3, Viva Pinata 1 and 2. We're awesome. Let's get a Banjo Nuts and Bolts 2. Hell, let's get a Banjo 3E. Let's get
The problem is the Don Matrick led.
Shooters sell. Co-op sells. You want to know what was a great co-op shooter that you now own? Jet Force Gemini.
Bronson, a lot of the games that you named, the Don Matrick led research team is probably thinking they're not going to give it a good enough sales numbers to convince anybody.
Anthony, I know.
I mean, I understand that if you put all of that out, gaming enthusiasts are going to be totally stoked, which is probably what you're aiming for, because every gaming enthusiast is gunning for the PlayStation 4 to get one. I wouldn't say gunning. Running to the PlayStation 4 to get one. Most of the gaming, like a lot of gaming enthusiasts are doing that. So, yeah, but I don't know. A lot of games you named are kind of, yeah.
It's a funny question, but yeah, it's not gonna happen. It would be quite hilarious, yet very sad if that happened, though.
Yeah, because they came out with Killer Instinct, and unless you were raised in the late 90s, a lot of people probably don't even know what that is. And that exactly didn't cause it. I mean, Xbox One is still selling very well, but it doesn't exactly quite have the same fighting power.
All right,
It's because Jeff Rubinstein with the Microsoft from PlayStation, so now Don Matrix pulling a 180.
So, I mean...
Don't be pulling 180.
Alright. Oh, man. I was gonna say, alright, let's just... I don't know, man. Like, I would say Perfect Dark. Like, I think the idea behind Perfect Dark is really good. And if they threw the money that they threw at Halo 4 behind a game like Perfect Dark, that could sell really well.
Well, I don't know.
No, here's the problem. I think we need...
Like, I'm glad they're taking a chance with, like, Quantum Break. Like, they could come out with another Alan Wake, too.
No, like, here's the problem. Here's the problem, Bronson, is that you're naming a lot of franchises like Killer Instinct and Perfect Dark. Those are franchises that are kind of like 10 years ago, kind of like. In the case of Killer Instinct, the last time it came out was the late 90s, and Perfect Dark, the last time it came out was like mid-90s even. Killer Instinct Gold. And you're talking about Perfect Dark.
Hey, everyone, feel really old. Killer Instinct is going to be... Killer Instinct Gold, which was the last one released, is 18 years old this year.
It's old enough to graduate from high school. It's legally an adult.
Yeah.
It's like that Penny Arcade comic that said Super Mario Kart's old enough to drink now.
Yeah.
Oh. But anyways, so yeah, like a lot of franchises you name are just kind of like 10-year-old kind of stuff. Like Perfect Dark, last came out 06, 07. Like I feel like more recent franchises, something that people can remember. Like imagine if Mass Effect 4 went Xbox One exclusive. That would be a huge deal.
Or new franchises in general. Like I think Microsoft, like Gears of War launched on 360. Like I think on Xbox One they need to come out with another franchise, whether it's in-house or they have something. Because Titanfall, I honestly don't think Titanfall is gonna do it. They need to get that one game that becomes a huge franchise and just kind of ride the coattails of that. Because I mean that's the thing. That's why I've always preferred Sony, is because Sony, they don't necessarily focus on one title, but they have a plethora. Like we know, like Infamous just came out. We know of these. We're probably gonna get another God of War. I wouldn't surprise me anyways. But it's like Sony, you know, you're gonna get this collection of all these awesome exclusive titles. Like you look at the exclusives from PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, and Sony blew them out of the water. So
wouldn't go that far. I'd say they had a stronger lineup, but
that's because Sony has so many in-house studios, whereas Microsoft doesn't. They've started building studios, but that takes time.
They've shut down a lot of their good studios too.
That's true.
Anyway, moving forward, we have Nick. What are your thoughts on
Big As Musin just left Sony Santa Monica, which is interesting.
Jay Sway says, yeah, that is weird. Jay Sway says, Nick, what are your thoughts on Infamous Second Son since you got a copy early?
Kind of provided my thoughts early on. Also check out the review, but it's absolutely, it's amazing. Like if you have a PlayStation 4, just go buy the game. Once you hear it, the time you're hearing this, the game's on shelves, like pause the podcast, go to the store, buy the game, play it. When you need a break, come back and listen to the podcast.
So last question was sent to me on my Vita, / PlayStation Network. So give me a minute while I turn that on. Hold up.
Infamous is awesome, guys. Please go buy it. Please support the game. And I was reading somewhere, I don't know how accurate it is, between pre-orders of the Infamous bundle, I think it's in Europe, and pre-orders around the world, that there's like 1 million pre-orders, which would be crazy because it'd outsell Titanfall, which I don't think any of us predicted. But like I said, we'll have to wait and see until
No,
official figures come
I
out.
put my money on Demon Souls, or not Demon Souls, Dark Souls.
Yeah. Yeah, but wouldn't that be crazy if Infamous, like maybe the tables are turned this generation. Maybe we're gonna see like Infamous and all these Sony franchises selling 5 to 6 million.
All right, Kyo Tenchi. We already talked about Project Christine, but what upcoming collector's editions of games are you looking forward to or hoping they will announce? So I actually just bought 2 collector's editions of games. I bought the Final Fantasy X HD one and Killer Instinct. And as far as ones that I would want a Bayonetta collector's edition. Maybe a Smash Bros. I don't know. That's about it so far. Oh,
I don't know. I've never
Metal Gear
been
would be
big into
cool.
collector's editions.
For
I
me,
haven't
it
bought.
just depends on what's bundled in them. Like the Titanfall one for like $200, that was asinine and retarded. But like
What
this
does it
final,
include?
like a statue that's up to my waist. Uh,
Oh,
and all the DLC and a couple other things.
remember the Halo edition that
I
came with
have
like
it.
the Master Chief helmet?
I have it.
Yeah, but you couldn't
But
put it on.
yeah, I have a honestly a good. So this Final Fantasy X Collector's Edition is pretty great. You get 6 hours. You get all 6 hours of music from the game. You get a special case. You get 5 lithographs and an art book for for $80. Like that. That's it. Oh, I'm definitely gonna get the collector's edition of the World of Warcraft expansion. Like that's obvi because I've done that for the last 2, and I'm gonna do it for the next one for sure.
I noticed that I'm a sucker for soundtracks.
And it was like, what was it, Killzone 3? Guerrilla Games tried to copy that and then came up with the Hellgas mask.
Oh god, that was so terrible.
Or the Resistance 3 edition was pretty cool. It came with like the figures and stuff.
Yeah. Well, Uncharted was pretty cool. You got Nate's belt buckle and his necklace. That was
What
pretty
does
cool.
the Infamous include? I know you're getting it, Bronson.
It includes Delson's beanie, the pins he wears on his jacket, some exclusive DLC, a DUP patch, a special case, and then a couple others like skins and other cool stuff.
And what does that run?
$80.
That isn't bad.
No, not at all. I think my limit is $100, and I'm willing to go over that if you're doing something really awesome. If you're doing something really, really cool, I'm willing to go over.
I think the craziest we've seen so far is Call of Duty with the night vision goggles. That was like completely crazy.
That wasn't too nuts. I mean, those were reasonably priced. I think that Titanfall's the most nuts I've seen so far, just because of how big it is.
A statue that goes up to your waist.
This thing, it is a
that is like
ridiculous. It lights up and all kinds of other crazy shit.
You said this is like $300?
Like 200. It's like $250, I think.
Okay, well at least it's truly collectible, right?
Yeah, hold on.
Because at that price point, a lot of people are not going to buy it, and the fact that it comes with a statue that big that lights up is quite rare.
Hold on. Let me pull it up right now. The Titan is 18 inches tall.
A foot and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good.
Okay, that's not really up to your waist. That's like up to your knee.
All right. It's 19 by 13 by 19 and a half. It weighs 6 pounds. It's handcrafted with over 300 individual parts. LED lights.
Handcrafted, they say.
Let's see. What else? It also comes with an art book, DLC, and posters. It's $250. Yep.
Crazy. See, that's the thing. Like, it's hard to do something like that when there's no establishment with like the series. Like, there's not like Titanfall isn't even a series yet. Like, it doesn't even have a big name yet. Whereas like Halo or Infamous, like or World of Warcraft, like they have established names.
I know they're not gonna do one for Bayonetta as much as I want them to do one. You know, like, um, yeah, I'm. So I pulled up the exact Infamous one right now. You get the game with exclusive collector's edition cover art, replica of Deslin's beanie, set of 8 pins from his in-game vest, a Department of Unified Protection patch, a set of vinyls inspired by Delson and the DUP, exclusive legendary in-game vest, exclusive DLC Cole's Legacy, and it tells you what happens between Infamous 2 and Infamous Second Son. You complete the mission and unlock Cole's jacket for Delson to wear in game. And then if you pre-ordered where I did, you also get a bunch of special vests for him to wear. Ironically enough, made by a bunch of by a bunch of artists in Seattle, including I Am 8-Bit and Penny Arcade. So,
Yeah,
like,
see, something like that's definitely worth it for the extra $20. Yeah.
yeah, I'll
Like I
totally wear
said,
that. I could use a beanie, so right on.
yeah. For me, collector's editions, I'm a sucker for soundtracks.
Uh,
To be honest, though, I haven't really gotten a quote collector's edition. It's more like pre-order and get a soundtrack disc, kind of stuff.
well, I don't know.
Actually, in the case of the last story, I freaking loved it because I pre-ordered it, which means that I get the soundtrack CD, which only included 8 songs from the entire game out of like 50, which is quite a shame because I was hoping for more. And because I got like one of the first copies, I think it also included the special case. Case as in like this paper plastic kind of thing that sort of looks like a book, and included an art book on the inside, along with the normal Wii game case. Pretty darn cool. Loved it.
Yeah.
As for an actual collector's edition, I don't think I care about any figure whatsoever unless it happens to be a dragon statue. Now, Skyrim actually did do that, but I didn't care enough about Skyrim, nor was I willing to pay $150. And I believe that there were actually some PS3s, and I thought these things would sell out really quickly, but it turned out not many people actually wanted a collector's edition of Skyrim. Either that, or they made too many of them.
I am going to go with that. Up until last year, GameStop used to just take $5 for collector's editions. Now you need to put down $25. So that is going to make it so significantly less of those end up being around. Because the way it works, if you've ever worked at a GameStop, collector's editions, we order as many as are pre-ordered and maybe 1 or 2 more. For every other game, for every pre-order, we order 2 copies. So, for instance, like Call of Duty, where we'll get 50 pre-orders, we're ordering 100 copies. At least that's how it was at the store I worked at. So, at that particular time. So, that's why when you only get 5 copies of a certain game at a store, it's because about 2 or 3 people pre-ordered that game. So, anyway, I think that's about it for questions. I'll refresh one last time, though, just to be safe.
Cool. Everyone, that is Unscripted Access, episode number 82. Thank you guys for listening. Go buy Infamous, please. I'm telling you guys, it is amazing. If you don't have a PlayStation 4 yet, you have the money, try to find one and get Infamous. If not, go to a friend's house, find a way to play Infamous. It's amazing. You'll thank me later. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Once you guys have gotten your hands on Infamous, do you agree that's the best gameplay-wise of the franchise? Let me know what you guys think. All right, guys, we are out.
Hold on, wait. My thing is, if you can't play Infamous, but because you don't want to buy a PS4 yet for whatever reason, hey, you know what? Final Fantasy X is one of the best Final Fantasies, and it's in HD. All right, yeah, bye.
HD.
We're on iTunes, YouTube,
Review
all
us,
that good
please.
stuff.
Reviews.
Reviews. Please.
All right, guys. We're out. Thanks.